Thank you, Mike. Anyway, so can we please move on to the point? Because I'm the only person who's going to give you a real debate tonight. So,
No, look, you say that, but you're actually some of the worst debaters because you actually have some ability to form a logical argument, but you fail miserably, right? That's the worst part of it.
okay.
You're being dishonest in your argumentation. So you're the worst debater. You're worse than everybody else that we had today, by far.
Even people who say the bees.
Yes, you're worse than them because they're actually able to be honest. You're not.
Okay, okay, that's fine, man. And God bless everybody. But can I please debate you properly? No, I know you're
Give
more
an
of a science
honest
guy.
argument. Give an honest argument.
Okay. So I'm not saying because change is real, God exists. I'm just establishing a purely actual thing. Okay. And once we establish a purely actual thing, we can go to the attributes of why this thing must be omnipotent, right? I already said possesses the forms to create material things without being material itself, right? That's a form of power. Okay, but under B theory, there's no problem here, because everything material that we observe goes from potential to actual. We've never observed anything material that's purely actual. That's a fact. Okay, now you can say the universe is purely
An
actual, but
assumption.
the universe is made up of all material things in your worldview, unless you're an atheist who believes in the immaterial, which is weird. Okay, so the problem is with you, right? Even if there's an infinite regress, you still have to get to a point, not even a point, but a where something went from potential to actual. Because everything in materialism is potential to actual. So in the beginning, or
No,
in the
no,
beginning, you
wrong.
were saying
Again,
something purely potential,
no.
but this is a
This is
problem.
yes, yes. We
We
can say that the universe is purely actualized,
but we don't observe anything that's material. Then you have to say the universe is
but it's
immaterial, which is
possible. But it's a clear possible. We haven't observed God, so we don't have to observe God. It's a possibility, right? When it
Mhm.
comes to the universe is possibly purely actualized as a quantum state that embodies all quantum states in one moment in
No,
superposition. That,
quantum state of material.
so what?
All material things change that we observe.
No, they
Yes,
don't.
they do.
Again, change is perceptual.
No, this isn't true. Change happens regardless of perception.
Again, change. No, change is perceptual. There is no fundamental law of nature that says things must change or pass through time. That doesn't exist.
So are you saying that if humans weren't here to perceive it, change wouldn't happen?
Change doesn't happen in any with or without humans. Change
But
does not happen in any objective way. It's perceptual.
so you're saying change doesn't exist in objective reality?
Change does not need to exist in any fundamental way um, at all.
I think denying that change is real is absolutely crazy. No,
Look, yeah, you're not. Again, you're not understanding
even if we
relativity.
take your theory of change, that it's emergent, right, rather than like a fundamental, this is still change is real. This doesn't refute the problem.
But it doesn't mean that the universe changes. That's the problem, right? Your entire argument hinges on the notion that the universe changes and hence requires an actualizer. I'm sorry, the universe could always literally be actualized in some quantum way. Do you know what a superposition is?
No.
Okay. Well, in quantum mechanics, there's an interpretation called the many worlds interpretation, where it perceives the entire universe as one wave function, and is never the wave functions never collapse, which means that everything already exists. Everything's there in the superposition. All quantum states exist simultaneously, which means that everything's actualized. All possibilities are actualized, and it's only a sense of change that is perceptual,
But then you'd
that
have to say
emerges
this.
from
Then
perhaps
you.
our minds or perhaps the brain or some secondary law of physics that shows that change exists, but it's not fundamental.
But then you'd have to say that this state that you're talking of is immaterial, because any material example you give me doesn't fit this description, right?
I don't know what an immaterial means.
I've yeah. So it's everything material is a form, right? And immaterial is like we just the forms, but he doesn't become the forms, right? Okay. So yeah,
So God doesn't have a form.
no, he possesses the forms without becoming the forms. This is how we get to omnipotence,
He possesses the form.
without becoming the form. Yeah, because
So
God's
he has form.
in his that
Because
exists.
God actualized some things, right? He has some form.
Yeah, no, so God has an essence, he's pure essence, but the forms exist within the mind of God.
Okay, but there is some form, right? God actualized something, right?
God is pure act.
Right.
Yeah.
Every right. So then God has to have some kind of form because he has properties.
God's attributes of the divine simplicity. So we believe God is identical to his attributes. We don't believe in, or this leads
Oh,
to
so
God being
you're saying
composite.
that God is identical to love
Yes.
and God is identical to omnipotence
Yes.
and God is identical to all knowledge?
Yeah, look into divine simplicity. This
Okay.
is the only way God can exist.
the- Okay, and God is identical to all good.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're saying that God is identical to all those things, well, then that what that also means, it also follows that omnipotence is identical to love.
No, because as I've already explained, God in the essence, right, is his essence is omnipotent. The form love that he possesses is identical to himself. So he possesses the form
Which
without
is
becoming the form.
omnipotence, which is love, and
Yes.
omnipotence. That's a contradiction.
No, no, but love isn't a form of. Wait. I don't understand your question. Sorry, love. Are you trying to say love's like identical to omnipotence? We don't say that. No, we say love is identical.
This is what divine simplicity follow entails. It entails God is identical to love and omnipotence,
Yes.
and that those things are also equal and equivalent because those are all equal to God, and God is equal to love, and God is equal to also omnipotence, which means both of those things are also identical.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I have no problem with accepting that. God is love is a form
Okay,
of
so
God's
you're saying
omnipotent
that
power.
love is identical to omnipotence, and love is also identical to omniscience.
Um, I,
Seems like a
you,
contradiction to me.
wait, how is that a contradiction?
It's an identity error.
How is it an identity or what?
It defies the law of identity.
Well,
How
can't
can
wait,
love be
can't we?
omniscience and love also be
I
omnipotent?
don't think it follows. I think I've kind of lost my head. I don't think it follows. I feel like I've lost track, so I've kind of let you talk and almost talked me out of my own point. So I don't think love is identical to omnipotence. God is identical to his attributes, right? But
Yeah,
that doesn't
which
mean
means
all
God
attributes are
is.
identical to each other.
You're saying God equals omnipotence,
Yes.
which because of yes, it also follows that God equals omniscience. So
Yes,
that
there's a
means it
distinction.
also follows that omniscience equals omnipotence. That's an
Okay.
issue.
No, it's not. Attributes are identical to God. Okay. Great. But that doesn't mean the attributes have to be identical to each other. There can be a distinction between love and omnipotence, while God is still identical to both of those. There's no problem
No,
there.
it would have to follow that that all are identical,
No, it wouldn't.
right?
No, it
Yes, it
wouldn't.
would.
No, it wouldn't. There can be a
Because
distinction between his attributes while all are identical to him himself. There's no problem there.
how? How is there a distinction? That mean if there's a distinction between these attributes, then that means God has different attributes and different properties.
He can have different attributes while all attributes being identical to himself. The claim isn't there's no
Right.
difference in attributes. The claim is the attributes that exist that are different are all
But it
identical
also
to him.
follows that it also follows that omnipotence equals omniscience because God is equal to both of those.
No, we may,
If he's
we
identical, look, I understand if you're going to say that we have certain attributes, I agree that you can have multiple attributes, but you're saying that those attributes are all the same because they're all equal to God. They're
no,
all identical to God,
no,
right? Like for example, if I were to say,
no, not at all,
um,
man. This is a straw
I
man,
am
man.
yeah, if I were to say if you were to say that I am human and I am Caucasian, that what it follows from that is that
But you being
and then if you're going to say
Caucasian
that
doesn't
if
have
you're
to
going
be
to say that
identical.
if you're going to say that there's hold on if you're going to say that those attributes are identical, then or those properties are identical, then you're also saying that humans equal Caucasian, which is
No.
nonsense.
Okay, so when I say that God is identical to his attributes, I'm not saying all these attributes have to be identical to each other.
That's what follows from divine
No,
simplicity.
he can have a distinction within his attributes while still being identical to all of them. He possesses all of those forms. Okay?
So God has multiple distinctions within his nature,
God has multiple distinctions within his attributes. We don't, that's no problem.
but his attributes are as part of his nature, right?
They're all identical to him, yes, but there's distinctions between them. There's no problem
Okay.
there, I don't
So
understand.
you're saying A, which is God, equals B, which is omniscience. And then you're saying A equals C, which is omniscience. How
Yes.
can, if A equals B and
Hmm.
A equals C, then B equals C too. It follows that also equals C.
No, it just means that B and C originate from the same cause. No,
No,
they
this.
Without, no, 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 no.
Write this
Those two
down for
things,
you?
those two
Do
things
I
can
have to write this down for you,
no,
sir?
those two things
Do I
can.
really have to write this down?
Bro, listen, those two things can come from the
Oh
same
my
thing,
gosh, I
bro,
have to write this down, bro.
bro.
Oh my
Those
god.
two
Let me get a piece of
things.
paper. Let me
Okay,
get a piece of paper.
there's no contradiction here, man. Such a none.
Here we go again.
Oh, bro, this is.
Here we go.
Okay, can I please lay out my point once more before you write it?
Okay.
Okay,
A equals B.
okay, bro, shut up, man. This is not.
A equals C. B B equals C. A equals B. If God equals omniscience and God equals omnipotence, then it follows that if these are identical, then these are also identical. B equals C.
Okay, but this gives an idea that his nature's like come from another nature. Like it's the idea that like how can I explain it?
Do
You're
you
trying to
want it color coded too?
bro, listen, okay. So I'm saying that tell me the contradiction here. I'm gonna lay it out, okay. Okay. Then we can get back to the proper
It
argument. Listen.
defies the law of identity. You can't be two things at one time if you're identical
We're
to
not
those
saying
two
there's two
things.
things at one time. Okay. God is identical to all of his attributes. Yes. Any problem? No. Yes. Oh.
No.
Wait, bro, just you agreed with. Oh, okay, he's paused. Dun, 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 dun.
Just
Okay,
I
okay,
agree that God equals his attributes, but those attributes would have to be different. Unless
okay,
you're saying that omniscience equals omnipotence, which I would disagree.
okay. God is identical to his attributes, but his attributes are different from each other. Where is the problem? There
Because
is no.
if you're going to say that God is identical to omniscience, God equals omniscience. Would you agree with that statement?
Its entirety, but yeah, sure, that's an attribute of God, yeah.
So then God has multiple attributes.
Yes!
God has multiple properties that are distinct.
No, he has multiple attributes which are distinct from each other, but God's identical to all of them. Where's the
He's not
problem?
identical. He's not identical to. You're saying that he's identical to each attribute.
Yes.
Okay, then that's a contradiction. He can't be identical to every single each one attribute. He can be identical to the collective, but not each one,
Why?
because it entails a contradiction, an identity error, right? I just showed you the error. If you're saying that God is identical to each attribute,
You're saying that if God's identical as attributes, then omnipotence has to be identical to omnipresence, omniscience.
yes, that's what follows from divine simplicity, because you're saying that God has one nature, right?
Yes,
One essence, right?
yes.
Okay, then his essence is equal to omniscience. Would you agree?
His essence is equal. No, because that's one attribute of his essence.
Okay, there you go. So then that's not you're no longer it's no longer divine simplicity now, right? Now you think God has multiple different distinct attributes and properties.
Yeah, but these distinct attributes can all be identical to himself.
I understand that, but you just conceded that you don't have divine simplicity because now you're saying that God is not equal to omniscience.
Well, when I say when I guess when you asked that question, I thought you meant like is omniscience on the same, I guess, like how can I explain it, of the same
Look,
authority almost.
is God's essence equal to omniscience?
Yes. Okay. Yes, it is. My
Is
apologies.
God's essence equal to omnipotence?
Yes.
Okay, so now what you're saying is what follows from this is mathematically omnipotence is also equal to omniscience because they're all equal to each other. You're just saying A equals A equals A.
But they can be equal to each other. But when I say distinct, I'm saying the effect is distinct that we observe. That's all I'm saying. Like when I say distinct, I think you're misinterpreting my original point. I'm just saying, like distinct in its effect of what it means versus omniscience. That's all I'm saying. Can we? Is there a
Yeah,
problem?
I don't think you're really understanding here. You're not really tracking
No,
here.
because when you, I'm just saying that
Okay,
when
let me try to make it more simple for you. Um, what would you say my human essence is human?
no, the essence is humanity.
Right, my essence is human, right?
Humanity, the form is human.
What? No,
The
my
form, the form.
my essence, my individual essence is human, right? I'm a
Sure,
human.
I guess. Just go ahead.
Okay, great. Is a human. I have a couple attributes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm white. I have brown eyes. So now, am I human? Is my human essence equivalent to brown eyes? No, right?
It's a form that you possess.
It's just one of the attributes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So again, this is the problem because if you're going to say that my essence equals to brown eyes and my essence equals to Caucasian,
Mm-hmm.
that would follow that Caucasian equals to brown eyes because they're all identical. This is what you're literally arguing,
But we
right?
don't
You're
wait. We don't
saying
put
that
humans on the
God.
same level as God.
What?
Like we don't say like when we describe we don't put humans on the same level as God, right?
Why does that matter, bro? We're following
Because
logic.
because humans can be composite, but God can't be.
Oh
That's all
my
I'm
God.
saying.
I'm done with it.
It's,
Dude, God could be
no,
composite,
okay.
bro.
Under the worldview, God isn't composite.
Oh, that's just question begging. You're just assuming that for the argument.
Well, I'm just saying under the worldview of like how we interpret God under divine simplicity. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, your interpretation shit.
Thank you. Can you debate me? No.
Yeah, you're no problem, bro. I just pointed out a contradiction in you,
No,
bro.
you didn't. I accepted the points that you were saying. I said that there was no contradiction.
Then you concede the debate because you just fucking conceded that there's a contradiction.
No, I didn't concede a contradiction.
Then explain why.
You got a galaxy, by the way.
God, explain why omniscience equals omnipotence. I'd love to hear your explanation for that.
Why But omniscience equals God.
Is omnipotence?
Sure. Where's the problem? I just said the effects are distinct. I was
You think
arguing.
okay, so you think all knowledge is equal to all power?
Okay. Yes.
I don't think that's true. I
Well, you can say it's
disagree.
not true, but you don't
I
even
think
live.
those are separate attributes.
Okay.
Do you
Okay.
think do you think all power is equal to all love?
Well, the problem is if you're saying that like God can be composite, that's how the Islam view is on God. This is impossible because you're saying God that is then made
Yeah,
up of parts. It leads
yeah.
to
Unfortunately,
partialism.
sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It leads to
Like I'm
partialism,
not
right?
gonna I'm not just gonna accept that these properties are identical, let alone the fact that you can't even define them properly. So I think there's many issues with this. And
Fine.
yeah, I think to me it's logical,
But
but
you'd have to show me how God can exist while being composite, because then you lead to partialism. If God's made up of parts, then
no,
there's things that makes God contingent, or parts of God that are contingent on
yeah,
him. This is
exactly. That's the problem. That's literally the problem, right? You're saying that God is made of parts, which then would
no, I'm
just
not. No, I'm not.
kick down the road.
I accepted divine simplicity. I actually accepted that these attributes are identical to God, and therefore are identical to each other. But the
Yeah,
effects don't have to be identical.
yeah.
This was
You
my
would have to
original point.
you would have to somehow show that omnipotence is equal to omniscience.
Yes, in terms of
You would have to somehow do
yeah,
that.
but I'm not saying the effect is identical, Mark. I'm not saying
That
this is
doesn't
why.
matter. The attributes would have to be the same, which seems ridiculous. That omniscience is equal to love and is also equal to omnipotence and is also equal to consciousness and is also equal to
Well, there's
anger.
no
If you're
other
a
way.
Christian, God is also angry.
There's no other way you can describe God without running into many contradictions. Divine simplicity is the only way.
Yeah, exactly. Divine simplicity is another shitty fucking argument.
Well, it just establishes that God like can exist without any contradiction, and I accepted divine simplicity.
No, there is a contradiction.
Wait, no.
Do you think consciousness is equal to omnipotence?
Do I think consciousness is equal to omnipotence?
Yeah. Yeah.
So not the effect. We're not talking about the effect.
Oh my God. Okay, this is the last. Okay, this is it. Does God have is consciousness an attribute of God?
Yes, sure.
Okay, God is conscious.
He's a
Now,
mind.
is consciousness one of God's attributes also equal to omnipotence?
Yes. You can laugh, but you can't respond. You can't just laugh.
By definition, I'm conscious, which means I'm also omnipotent.
No, we already went over why you're not omnipotent, Mike. You can't actualize all
This is the
metaphysical.
problem. This is the problem. It leads to all these fucking ridiculous word games,
It's not word
right?
games, man.
It's just semantics. It's really sad that you actually succumb to this nonsense.
I don't succumb to it.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just gonna say I'm sorry. I'm not gonna accept this faulty logic. You know.
Okay, you don't have to accept divine simplicity, but then you would have to
Okay, great.
demonstrate. Okay, well, can we establish? I've got to go vegan. I didn't even realize. Damn, I'd love to go over veganism with you. Wait,
Okay.
can I ask you a question? You say that it's, but listen, we're not going to agree on divine simplicity. That's fine. But you know, it was a fun debate. But I just want to ask about veganism quickly. I'll let you go on to some new guests soon. Do you say that unaliving an animal is just as bad as unaliving a human, right?
Depends on the context. If you have no justification, if you have no justification for either, then yeah, I would say that morally they're the same. Yes.
Okay. Is it morally the same to grape a human versus grape an animal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, we're both sentient. We're both conscious. We both don't want to be raped. Yeah, it's both equally the same morally.
I just didn't know if you held to the same view on like grape versus murder, because like obviously they're different kind of, because murder just puts them out of misery, whereas grape's more traumatic.
Animals can't even consent, so I would say it's always wrong to do that to an animal.
Yeah. Okay. And you always go on about how you can get the same amount of protein. That's not true. The animal
Oh,
protein
really?
is higher quality.
I
We do,
just, I literally just had a meal today with like tofu and like beans and all kinds of proteins. I literally got like 30 grams of protein in one meal.
no, you
30
absorb
grams.
no, you absorb 12 grams.
Oh, really? Can you demonstrate that? I only just
Yes.
absorbed 12
Yes.
grams.
Yeah. Sure. So
Do you have
the
a paper that shows that?
I, I'm not going to jump off the live, but I know you can fact check me right now. Body
Yeah,
absorbs.
there is no
No,
fucking paper that
Good.
says you only
Okay.
get 12
Okay.
grams. That's
Okay.
nonsense.
Okay. Google how the body absorbs plant protein from tofu and chickpeas versus how the body absorbs animal protein. I agree with you. The quantity of protein is the same, but the quality of protein is different. You accept the difference in quality
But
protein, right?
it's only a 5%
No, it's not.
difference.
That's a lie.
Okay, then demonstrate that it's more than 5% and why
Go.
that even matters.
Wait. Oh, so now you can see
There are
it
there
doesn't
are
even matter
vegan
anyway.
because there are vegan bodybuilders who can outlift you.
Yeah, you know they did a study where
So
these vegan athletes tried to be vegan and they had to hit a 75-gram target, and they hit the 75-gram target, but the body was only taking in 39 grams. But in the animal
oh, really?
protein, they
What's
were
that
taking.
study? What's the study that demonstrates that?
Sure. Because I don't have the study on me. I'll be honest.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but before you debate me, you got to bring the data and
But
facts and
I don't have a
evidence.
computer on me now.
But also,
iPhone.
okay, well then that's your problem, not my problem, because I'm aware of no such study that says
You have a
this.
computer right next
And
to
by
you.
the way, it's actually irrelevant because you can get all the protein you need as a vegan. You can get all the proteins you need. You can be very healthy, and you can even be a bodybuilder.
Can you get selenium from veganism?
Yes,
Zinc?
yes,
Phosphorus?
every element. Yes, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds all have those.
But the problem is with like these greens, like the plant protein, the just body doesn't absorb it as well. And you can fact check me now. Why don't you go on your computer and do it for us now?
Sure. Here's a study called the Positioning of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and their position is that a vegan diet that's well planned.
That's not the study that we're talking about, though. It can be survivable.
Oh, so
Doesn't.
you don't like counter studies, but you
Hmm?
don't like counter evidence, but you love to produce your own
I'm
garbage,
not
which is
against that study.
okay,
What?
great. So then what? So then refute that study, which is a collection of nutritionists and doctors around the world who showed us that you can be healthy as vegan.
Sure, but this is just a red herring, bro. I didn't. My initial claim was that plant protein, the body doesn't absorb it as well as
Yeah,
animal
show it.
protein.
I
Okay.
reject
Oh,
that
okay. Oh,
nonsense.
okay.
I
Yeah, but you
agree that
said there was
there's
a
a slight
5%
difference.
difference.
I
Okay.
agree that there's a slight difference in the amino acid profiles, but there's not a significant difference at all in the bioavailability of these proteins.
Okay. Has anybody ever said you look like Joe Goldberg?
And it seems like you're not serious, sir.
No, I am
So do you
serious,
have
bro. Sorry, I'm
do
sorry.
you
Yeah, yeah,
actually have data
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
do you
yeah,
have data
yeah.
or no?
Yeah, sure. So, I accept
What's your
evolution, by the way.
what is your data or evidence that demonstrates you're correct?
Okay, that was pretty funny. So yeah, so basically you have a computer right next to you, and I just ask you to Google, does the body absorb animal protein as well as plant protein? That's it. And I want
Yeah,
you to tell me
yeah.
the
Sorry,
percentage.
sir, but I'm not going to waste my time
You're not gonna
Googling garbage.
waste your time,
Your
really?
job, your job is to, you have to cite the sources, not me. You made the claim, you cite the source.
Okay, yeah, so
Okay, so come back, find the source, and come
but
back.
look,
Okay,
but why do you think people on their phones can provide a source? What do you mean?
you can do that. You
How?
clearly think you know the source, so go ahead and show it to us.
But how you can't do anything, bro.
That's why you have to leave the live and become prepared next time.
What, and memorize an entire study that's peer reviewed while you sit there with a computer?
I
How does
literally
that
just
work?
did that. It's not that hard, sir, to cite a study. It's not
Also,
hard.
also,
You know
you're
how
making,
studies
as the
work?
comments say, you're making the claim. You have to, you know, you're making the claim. The body is it a 5% 5% like difference?
No, you made the original claim that our bodies cannot absorb enough protein. Go ahead and do that. Show that source.
Okay, okay. Well, again, I guess I'll just come up with another source. But the climate change thing also, we contribute towards it, but we aren't the only cause. I think you agree, though.
No, we are the only cause. What other cause is there of
Mm,
modern climate change?
the Earth goes through.
That's already accounted for in the climate models. What is the 100% cause of the forcing of modern warming is humans. There
Oh,
is no other cause.
but the cause, like you're saying, sole cause. That's a problem. That's not true.
It is true.
No, it's
Humans
not.
are the sole cause of the modern climate change.
Okay,
Why?
modern.
Because
Now you're
we are
adding a word in
emitting,
there.
because we take into account the carbon cycle, which is not, and we establish their forcings, which is nil. But on
Okay.
top of that, on top of the natural carbon cycle, we're adding on top of that carbon dioxide from factories and emissions. That is the driver of modern climate change. That's why the rate of change is so strong. It's because of us. There's no other option. There's no other.
I accept that. Now,
Okay,
take
then
away
you agree,
humans.
then you should agree that humans are the main cause or the cause
Main.
of climate
No,
change.
no, no. Okay, if your title is humans are the main driving factor of modern climate change, I agree. But the problem is when you say this humans cause, you know what you're doing. I know it's to lure people in and get more viewers, but listen, okay, humans are the huge contributing factor. We don't disagree. But do you agree if there was no humans that tomorrow we would still see climate change, but at a way slower rate?
No, no.
What?
Climate change happens over
Oh,
decades, right?
but even without us, it'd
And
still happen.
it is, by the way, it's quite ambiguous. It depends what you mean by climate change. I don't disagree that climate change happens naturally. And we know everybody understands that. But
Okay.
what you guys don't understand is that in the modern system, we are causing all of the warming. There is no other forcing.
Like like too fast for what it's supposed to be? Like almost?
No,
Okay, what do you
no.
mean? Bro, don't get angry. I'm just
A
asking.
forcing is a forcing is like a causal mechanism that drives up warming, and we know that it's all of it is us. It's carbon dioxide emissions and things like that. Deforestation. All those forcings are way bigger and stronger than any natural forcing because that's already accounted for. So um, humans are the cause of modern climate change. There is no other cause except for humans.
At
It's
least
not
you
the
add the word
sun.
modern.
It's not.
At least you add the word modern. I'm happy now. I'm happy. Um, the do you know when you first came back to TikTok like 2 weeks ago? You were so much calmer, man.
Yeah. And
Thank you. I
you showed
appreciate
up
it.
with your nonsense that I have to now dispel and debunk
You
because
didn't.
you just don't have the
You
ability
actually
to
didn't.
comprehend what you're even talking about.
No, you actually didn't debunk it, man. You said that
Oh,
the
I did, but you just
pre-existing
don't. You don't
no
understand what I debunked.
no. You
You don't even
appealed to
understand what I
you
debunked.
appealed to a theory that the universe has always existed, which has just as much proof as like literally the universe having a beginning.
Oh, I
You
appealed
you
to a theory.
you appealed to a
I'm sorry, sir.
theory.
I didn't appeal to a theory.
Yes, you did.
Relativity is a fact. Relativity
No,
happens.
no, no. You tried to argue for a
Yes,
multiverse.
it is.
You
First
argue
of
for a
all, it is a
multiverse.
fact. But more importantly, um, does not have as much proof as God. There is zero proof of God. There's
Oh,
zero
there's less
evidence.
proof than God. Less proof than God. I'm saying there's as much
There
proof
is
for the
zero proof of God. God it doesn't even is
no
not even defined properly.
through deductive exist.
There is no logic for God. There is no deductive logic for God.
You know that if you can see the universe has a beginning, you know it leads to God, man. You know that. You
Wow.
know
See,
it. You know it, Mike.
this is why you are worse than people come up here and see the trees. Because you're dishonest. You are deliberately dishonest. That's why you're the worst debater.
I challenge you to
Because
refute God
you
if the universe has a
because
cause. I challenge you.
because you know that saying, look, the beginning, that means God. That's not evidence of a God, and you know it, but you say it because you're dishonest. Because you have
Okay,
no other fucking
wait,
evidence.
wait, Mike, I dare you take a position that says the universe has a beginning, therefore has a cause, and try and not lead to immaterial, omnipotent like mind. You
Oh
can
yeah,
try,
it's called a quantum field. That's what caused the
which is
universe, and
material,
quantum fields, yeah,
which
which are
yeah,
eternal.
give something material, that doesn't actual. Give it, show me something.
Quantum again, you don't understand that quantum states are purely actualized.
Yes, but they made up of different properties.
They're made of one property, and
No,
just as you say, God is
one essence.
the one essence. We can say that quantum states one essence.
Okay. Oh wait, are quantum things are they immaterial or material?
Material.
What's your definition of material?
Anything that is measurable
Wait,
or
s-
quantifiable.
so the mind isn't material?
The mind is measurable. We
The
can observe electrochemical states in the mind, brain states.
the brain, the consciousness doesn't come from the brain, bro. We never proved.
Well,
The
we have
experience of
evidence.
seeing the color yellow is different from the like.
Consciousness. Well, no, the experience of yellow is an emergent phenomenon of those brain states in the mind. That's what it seems to be.
Seems.
It's bioelectricity, and that's what seems to be consciousness. There doesn't need to be some
Seems.
kind of magic mind behind it.
Okay, cool. But you've never proven that that's the case. The experience of seeing yellow has never been
Well,
directly correlated from the brain. No.
just because we haven't proved something doesn't make it false or impossible. Let alone the fact that you haven't proved jack shit about your God.
Mm.
But more importantly, the overwhelming evidence in neuroscience points to consciousness being a physical phenomenon. None of it shows a immaterial phenomenon happening.
Okay. So these quantum states are material. Okay. Are they purely actual?
Yes,
Are they made up of
they're made of one property,
what
a
is the
wave
property?
function, one wave function.
A wave function. Does the wave function have different properties?
Nope, just one. It just says one property. It's specific energy level.
I don't even know why I should take this as fact, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Wait,
It's.
so
I'm not
wait,
saying it's a
this is a
fact. I'm saying
problem.
it's a possibility.
Wait, does the wave function go to the quantum state?
What?
Does the wave function
They
cause
are
the quantum
identical to
state?
a quantum. A wave function is a quantum state. And again, if we view this in a many worlds interpretation, we can see that there's a superposition of all quantum states simultaneously existing at one time.
Okay.
With no change, it's purely actualized, and there's no God.
So, Mike, wait, here's a problem, okay? You said the wave function and the quantum state are identical. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitionally, yeah, they're identical.
They're
They're the same
identical?
thing.
So what's the distinction you're making?
Yeah, you just don't know what you're talking about.
No,
That's your confused.
I'm asking you questions because you're saying that the quantum state is this fully actual cause, but then we see change or differences within this quantum state because being a wave function and a quantum state is a difference.
We can, yeah, again, change is perceptual.
Is the
Again,
quantum state
but
dependent on the wave function?
yes, they're the same thing.
Wait, they're not
Now,
the same thing.
when we say, yes, they are. Do you know what a wave function is?
No, but you're making the distinction.
You don't even know what it is.
But you're making the distinction.
There is no distinction, sir. A wave function is a quantum state, but there could be multiple different types of quantum states in a superposition. Do you know what that? You don't even know what that means,
Okay,
right?
don't
Like
try
this
and-
is the problem. This is why I don't like people like you that to come up here. You don't even know what you're talking about. People who haven't learned science yet, right? You
I'm more
haven't.
of a philosophy guy, all right? I'll be real.
Exactly.
I know a bit of
Exactly.
science.
That's why you guys fail at these arguments and you look like fools
No,
because you don't
because
understand science.
no. Okay, I know a decent
Okay,
amount of
great.
science, bro. Bro, you said that the quantum state before the quantum state was a wave function. Is that what you're saying?
There are two different words to say the same to mean the same thing.
So why did you use two different words?
Because it's just a more elaborate way of talking about it.
You
A wave
almost
function is a wave function is a energy level.
You almost
A
tricked
quantum
me
state,
into
a
like
quantum state. No, I did not. A
you did a
quantum
little bit.
state could be the embodiment of all wave functions, or it could be, something else, an individual wave function. There's different ways of modeling the universe. That's the problem. That's the point you don't understand. There's different ways to model things. You can have one quantum state, many quantum states in one, or different quantum states. We don't know. But the point here is that we can view the universe as one entity, and it does not need to be God. It could be a natural thing.
Okay, so there is no distinction between the wave function and the quantum state, but you decided to just give two different versions of the words to for what reason? I have no clue. All right.
Yeah. Again, you're not understanding. You're not actually willing to learn here. This is why you're the worst debater. You're not willing to
I'm not the
learn.
word, bro. Stop being mean.
Okay,
What are you?
great. So then you would understand what I just told. I just elaborated for you, right? That there are different models of viewing quantum states. They could be identical to wave functions, or they could be multiple wave functions.
Okay, but now you're saying this thing is material.
Yeah. The
The
embodied
problem
material.
is you can't provide material that doesn't change. That's a fact. You can't do that. You can try.
Again, you're assuming that things change in a fundamental sense. Nothing changes
Even
in
if
a
it changes in
fundamental.
the emergent sense, that isn't the problem. It still requires. It still changes.
No, it doesn't.
It changes in the
This
emergent
is this
sense.
is what you don't. This is what you have not understood the entire time. Look, I'm trying to help you. If I perceive change, that does not mean it's fundamental. If I perceive a ticking of a clock, that's not a fundamental feature of the universe.
Wait, what's your
That's
evidence? It isn't
perceptual.
fundamental. I never even asked you. You never even did
Oh,
that. You never established that.
time dilation, right? Do you know what time dilation is?
Time dilation is like depending on like for example the whole thing if humans travel at like 74% the speed of light, 5 years has passed for them, 60 years on Earth kind of thing.
Exactly.
That
There is no objective or absolute universe. Change is relative, not absolute. So, in this sense, you can view the universe as one unchanging entity.
wait, time being relative doesn't get mean change isn't fundamental.
It
No,
does.
no,
That's
no,
what
no.
it. That's directly what it means, right? Because change is relative, it means it's not fundamental. It means it's not absolute. Change does not necessarily exist in any fundamental way.
Wait, when you say change is relative, therefore it's not absolute. Why? Change is relative, therefore it's not absolute. But what do you mean it's not absolute? What does that even mean?
It's not fundamental to the nature of the universe.
But it's inevitable. Like
No, it's not. It's mind dependent.
it's mind dependent.
Change, yes, change is mind dependent.
So if there was no humans to observe, it wouldn't happen.
No, change doesn't happen regardless if we exist, but change is just the way we perceive things through the mind, and it's illusory.
Wait,
Just
the
as
theory of
Einstein said, this is literally Einstein's words.
wait, the theory of relativity only works on B time, right?
Well, there are ways to. There are other theories of time, but it works with as well, like the C theory. But yes, typically B.
Doesn't work on A theory though. Why
No,
you
but it does work on C and B.
okay? But why do you presuppose B theories even? The fact that you have
I
to
don't
go for the
presuppose it. I presuppose nothing here. I'm pointing out to possibilities that you're discounting.
oh oh that's fine. You can point out, but I'm pretty sure
Okay,
like
great.
this.
So then this is the problem. You're discounting the possibility of relativity being true, and
Okay,
hence
I have a
realizing that the
question.
universe is not changing.
I have a
So
question.
this undermines your entire argument. This is the point
Okay,
I'm trying to get to. That you have-
okay, I have a question. If time is if under A theory, that's the truth. If the universe has a beginning and a cause, you still don't think it leads to God's existence.
No. Why? How would it do that?
Why don't you take that position and then try and like defend it? I know it's not your position, but it'd be funny. It would be pretty funny.
What
'Cause
are you
you
talking
couldn't.
about?
Okay, so
A
you
theory
want to
of
do that?
time does not require a God. God is an ambiguous word. What does that even mean, right? Like,
You got an
why
immaterial mind, some cause.
you can have a beginning of space-time and it be a natural thing, like a fluctuation or a quantum fluctuation.
That changes.
That can still be within a material thing,
That
material
changes.
universe.
That changes.
Okay? Why can't change be eternal?
Why can't change be eternal?
Yeah,
Ah!
why can't there be infinite regression to change?
Ah! Okay, so if something has to be derived from something, if everything has to be derived from something, and it goes infinitely back, that original potential to actual, yes, that original
No,
potential to,
that's question bait. You're assuming that there's a first thing. There doesn't have to be a first thing.
even if there isn't a first thing, if everything that ever existed in infinite regress was potential to actual, it never would have even existed because potential there's no distinction from
Why not?
potential because
Why not?
there's no distinction from potential potential to nothing. Potential existing and nothing are identical.
What?
Potential of something.
Nothing is. You're assuming that nothing is.
Um,
That's a false dichotomy.
wait, do you think potential is like potential of like okay, the potentiality of I don't know, like 50 million Jupiters appearing right now. Wait, no, wait a second. The potentiality of something, do you think that's identical to nothing? Sorry, I was going to go with some analogy, but it don't work.
Nothing is not coherent to me. What do you mean
How do
by
you
nothing?
how do you define nothing?
I don't know what that even means.
Devoid of all
I don't.
things.
I don't. I don't use the word nothing in any absolute way.
Devoid of all things.
That's still something.
Huh?
Devoid of all things is still bounded.
No
It's
essence,
still
possess,
existing
no
bound
essence,
by
no
some
form.
boundary,
Okay,
which is something.
something with no essence or form.
That's still something. Thinking of that notion requires a boundary to think it.
Wait, so do you even have a description of nothing?
I think it's incoherent.
Interesting. So you don't, yeah, so you wouldn't make the distinction between potential and nothing then, no? You just say they're, I don't know.
Nope. Yeah.
Interesting. Wait, can you give me something? Oh, wait, no, you don't believe in a material cause. Damn. So you're saying the universe can have a cause and a beginning, and it can still doesn't lead to God.
Yeah. There's
Interesting.
no contradiction at all in infinite regression of
Wait,
time.
can change be real, like fundamentally, and still not lead to like a purely actual cause?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that at all.
You don't see how it leads to a purely actual cause?
Nope.
Wait, but you conceded there has to be purely something actual. You even agreed with that.
No, I granted
Either,
that for the sake of the argument, but this is not necessary to me. I
uh,
don't see any contradiction there.
okay, the universe can't exist without something purely actual, Mark. You even agreed.
For the sake of the previous argument, but not for this one. This one. Remember, we talked about the A theory. I'm assuming A
Hmm.
theory here, right?
No,
So
even under
do you
B
have
theory you did.
actual art
Even under B theory you did. Remember? You did.
under
You
the
said the
B theory?
quantum
You can
states
have a
don't
purely
change.
under the B theory. You can have a purely actualized universe. Under the A theory, you can as well. I don't see a problem with that. Yeah, it's harder to understand, but it's still. I don't see why it's a contradiction.
Because if there's an infinite chain of causes, then we never could have began.
What are you talking about? Why can't
Well,
we
under the
begin?
A
There's
theory.
no. You're assuming there's a beginning.
Yeah, and we were assuming A theory and universe having beginning cause. Remember? We agreed
Yeah.
to that.
Why can't the universe? Why can't the universe be infinite regression into the past?
Well, I mean, we're going back to a second point, but we already explained how even if it goes back forever, there still has to be something actual along the way, right? And if there's nothing actual along the way that
No.
existed, no, if there's nothing actual, it's purely actual, then you have an infinite chain of potentiality, but then nothing would
Yeah.
exist.
Why is that? Where's the contradiction there?
An infinite chain of potentiality?
Yeah. Where's the contradiction?
Because then, okay, when I say start, I don't mean like a start in time. I just mean like the actual
Where's the
universe.
contradict? Why is it
Because that
impossible for the
because
universe?
then the universe itself would potentially exist, but it actually exists.
Okay. No. You're assuming it
Yes,
actually. What if we are in potential?
we are in potential.
What if there's only? What if there's only potentials?
Ah, wait, so we potentially exist right now?
Yeah. It's possible. It's possible.
No, it's not, Mike. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Why can't there be an infinite chain of potentials and actualized causes, right? Potential to an actualized, a potential actualized. Why can't that be an infinite chain?
Because then you would have to say that the when I say starting point, I don't know how to define what I mean, but like it not like a starting point is in like a cause of in
Why
time.
can't, sir? Why can't the universe be potential? Why?
Okay, why can't the
That's
universe just be like? Why
absolute.
can't everything right now be potential?
No, why can't the universe have an infinite chain of potentiality to actualization?
The reason it can't have an infinite chain of potential to actual is because if this chain went back forever, right, like in infinite time, you never would have been able to go from potential to actual. The fact that we went from potential to actual
Why not?
demands,
Why not?
because
Why not? Why couldn't we go to? Why,
something actual has to exist before potential for it to even get to potential.
yes, why can't there be an infinite chain of actualized things before it?
Okay, right. If there's no, if there's an, I'm prancing around the room. Okay, if there's an infinite chain of actual things, right, you're saying that the actual things received their actuality from a potentiality. This is impossible
Why?
because something potential is always derived from something actual.
Yeah, so why couldn't there be an infinite chain of potentialities and actualities?
Because then we would only potentially exist, which means we wouldn't exist. But we do exist.
No, there's still actualities in this scenario. It's just that there's an infinite number of potentialities into the future and past.
Does potentiality demand something actual before it to exist?
Sure, for the sake of the argument, sure.
That's a fact. You can't have potential without something actual. Okay. Okay, that precedes it, sorry. Okay. If something went into this chain you're on about, then how would anything exist?
Because there would be something actualized before it.
But then it. But this can't go back forever.
Why
Because if
not?
there's an infinite chain of, like, okay, if there's an infinite amount of days from today to tomorrow, would we ever get to tomorrow?
Sure.
What? If there's an
Yes, you can
infinite amount
always
of
get to.
days from today to
Yes,
tomorrow,
you can always get to. Look, there's an infinite number. There's infinite numbers between 0 and 1. Do we ever get to 1? We do, right? There's
I
an
mean,
infinite
math
number.
proves the
Like,
existence of God, but
you
that's another
just
topic.
imagine a number line. We go from 0 to 1, and there's an infinite number of numbers between 0 and 1. We still get to 1. Still a possible thing. 2 is still a possible thing. Yeah, the question itself is malformed.
I mean, math proves the existence of God, but that's a different argument. We've already been over that. Um, okay, I mean, I'm absolutely bursting to go for a wee, and I'm gonna wee myself, but this was fun. But yeah, I think your notion that the idea that you make that you're saying an infinite chain of potentials can exist. My question to you is, if there's an infinite chain of if there's an infinite amount of time from from us progressing until 2025, are you saying we'd eventually get to 2025?
Um, Again, you're assuming this question is malformed. If we are in a number line of numbers, then we can get to the next number. If there's a segment of actualizations within an infinite number line,
No, math can be
then
infinite. No,
you can get to the present
math
moment.
can be infinite because
And
it's
but it
immaterial.
just goes on. Oh, hold on. You can get to a next moment that is in a chain of moments,
This isn't
in
a
an
problem.
infinite chain of moments.
This isn't a
So
problem.
that means there is no end to this time. There's no
No,
beginning to
let me
time. It just
explain.
goes
Let me
on
explain.
forever.
Let me explain. Math
That
is
is an
immaterial.
impossible thing.
Math is immaterial. You're comparing math to material causes. This is not the same.
What? No. First of all, math is not immaterial. Math is material.
Math has to exist in the
Um,
infinite mind of something because it is infinite itself.
in our mind. No, it is not. Infinity is not a number. It is not an
Okay.
our minds can ground math and logic. But again, you're not understanding that there's no reason why there couldn't be an infinite chain of numbers in time.
Okay, so you're comparing math, which is okay. Are you comparing math to material causation, like material causes,
Am I comparing math to material?
like math to
Math is
material, a
just
material
a
set of
process.
causes?
Math is just a mental process, which the process itself is material,
Wait, so
but
does two
math is
plus?
emergent.
Wait, so you don't believe 2 plus 2 actually equals 4, do you?
That's just definitional.
Oh, but beyond the definition, like that isn't actually true.
No, it's just a mental process. It's not. There's no mathematical truths beyond the mind. They're mind dependent truths.
Wait, do you believe there's any truths beyond the mind?
No, truth does not exist beyond our minds.
Truth doesn't
There's
exist
nothing
beyond the
to
mind.
ground truth.
Well, there's nothing to
No,
ground truth in under atheism.
there's
No.
nothing. There's nothing outside the mind that would ground truth. There's no atom or molecule that grounds
Well,
truth.
yeah, that's why
It's
you
mind.
need a god to ground like a transcendental argument. You
No,
need
you
God to.
don't. No, transcendental garbage is terrible. You don't need a god to ground anything. All we
Wait,
need is a mind.
wait. You just said we can't ground truth beyond the human mind. I'm saying for truth to exist beyond the human mind, you do need another mind. You accept that, though, right?
When I say mind, I mean any mind, whether human or non-human.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
No,
You
that's
can
fine.
ground. That's how truth is grounded in mind.
Okay, without God, you can't ground truth beyond your human mind, though. You agree?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to talk about truth beyond the mind.
Well, it's just to say there's some kind of objective standard of truth. That's all. That's all it's establishing.
No, that doesn't make no. Again, you can still have objective truth within the mind-dependent reality, like definitional statements, analytical statements, or it can be objective. But when we're talking about empirical truths, that's a different story.
Okay.
But yeah.
I have one final point, and then I'll dip, man. But quickly, do you? I ask you this genuinely. I want to know, why do you trust your mind if it's the result of a blind evolutionary process? Why do you trust your brain under atheism? There seems to be no justification at all.
Because we can use logic to perform things that give us results. And we
Logic
can
doesn't
test our.
exist beyond. Why do you
I
trust
know.
the
We can
logic
test our. Look, we can test our thoughts against reality using science.
So you trust your mind to tell you the truth about logic, but logic's dependent on the human mind, and the mind comes from a blind evolutionary process. Why is that
Yeah,
justified?
logic is itself definitional, right? It's analytical, right? So you don't need anything beyond the mind to do logic or to know logical statements are true.
Okay, well that's fine, but then you just don't believe that, logic doesn't actually exist. It's just a descriptor.
No, I do believe logic exists. It's just
But you
in
say
our
it's
mind.
dependent on the mind.
Yes, it still exists.
But
It's
to
just mind
ground, but
dependent.
to ground that stuff as actually true, you do need a mind before that. You agreed.
Yes, all you need is a mind to know truths. You don't need anything else.
No, mind that precedes the human mind. You actually agree
No,
with me.
why do we need a mind before us?
Cool. Ground. Like that logic is objectively like true, independent of the mind, without leading to another mind.
What do you mean logic is objectively true? Logic is not true or false. Logic's not a statement.
Well, yeah, it's the method that we use to come
Logic's
to
a
it.
process.
Yeah,
Logic's a
approach.
process, right?
Hmm.
When we get to logical statements we make, those are definitional, which only depend on minds. You don't need a God mind. You just
For
need a
it to
human
be
mind.
true, independent of the human mind, yes, you do. You agreed.
There is no such thing as independent of the human mind in terms of truths.
Okay, then you
So
don't.
that's a
Okay,
non.
then you
Yeah,
don't believe in truth independent of the human mind. Great.
yeah,
Fine.
and that's
Okay.
on their minds is not coherent.
To ground any kind of statement as actually true, you necessarily have to do that. Otherwise, I could just say, Mike, I disregard everything you're saying, and you can't justify why you're right.
Yes, we can through logic and rationality
Through
and
the logic
science.
that you can't ground without God.
We don't. Why do we need God for logic?
To ground the logic, you agreed.
We just
You
need a
said,
mind for logic, sir.
you
We have
said,
minds,
you
sir.
said, look,
Look, sir. Look. We have minds. We don't need God for minds. Nor do we need God for logic, do we? Right. So
okay.
we can come to logical truths. We can come to facts about reality through our minds. You don't need God.
Okay, so let me get this straight. There's no mind-independent truths about reality. You agree?
Mm-mm.
You disagree?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a mind-dependent truth, mind
No.
independent truth would be.
Okay, but you accept that there are
It's
no
not
mind.
coherent.
Okay, so you agree there's no truths that are mind-independent. You agree?
I don't see any reason to think so. Yeah.
Then logic isn't actually true beyond the human mind. Now, here's my problem.
What do you mean logic is not true or false? That's not even a
No,
correct and coherent.
sorry. The conclusions that you come to using logic aren't actually true or false.
Yeah,
Okay,
they come
cool.
from our minds. They come from our
Okay,
minds. It's
okay,
pattern recognition in the mind. That's how we determine what's true or false. Pattern recognition in the mind.
okay. So when you presuppose that this logic works, why?
Because it leads to reliable results about reality. We can test logic, we can perform logic and see if it matches. Look, I use my reasoning to determine that this rag will drop when I fall, when I drop it. Oh, look, it did. Oh, I use my mind to come to that truth. Do I need God to know that rags fall? No, I use my brain, I use my mind. And I can test this falling by looking and observing reality.
So when you observe,
That's how truth is occurred.
why?
That's how truth
Okay,
occurs. It's not
why?
because we go, oh, what does God think today? No,
No, that's not the
truth is
argument, bro.
determined by
Don't
our
be
mind
dishonest. Don't be
observing
dishonest.
reality. We don't need God for truth.
For it to be true, independent of the mind, yes, we do, and you agreed.
That that's irrelevant though. We don't
But
need truth beyond the
great,
mind.
Mike. I'm not trying. I'm trying to simply get you to agree that for truth to be independent of the human mind, you do need another mind before the human mind to ground it in. That's all I'm asking. For it to be actually true, independent of the human mind. That's all I want you to admit. This doesn't
We
prove
don't
anything.
need independent truths from the mind. We don't need
You
those things.
okay? Okay,
It's
we don't
not
need them.
even coherent to me to even talk about. So why even talk about it?
Okay, but this is my next problem. Okay, even Darwin struggled with this. He literally said in one of his writings that if his brain was that of simply just a monkey, then why would he, just trust the conclusions he comes to?
We don't just trust the conclusion. That's how science is
But
done.
then your perceptions and observations also come from this blind evolutionary process mind.
Okay, and what's wrong with that?
So,
Why does if there's a process and a mechanism and we are parts of that mechanism, why can't that mechanism produce truth?
but if you have no justification for your mind being designed to know truth, then what justification do you have to trust it?
The mind is not doesn't the mind does not evolve for truth. The mind
Exactly.
doesn't care about truth.
That's the problem with
The mind
atheism.
No, it's not a problem. We don't need to evolve truth to know it. Truth is all you need for truth is a mind. So anybody with a mind can determine what is true. All this
No, I
capability that
agree.
Darwinian evolution provides.
I agree. I'm saying you have no justification to trust those observations if your
Yes, we
brain is.
do. It's called reality. Look, we use reality as a reference frame to determine if our logic is true. I just demonstrated to you that I use my reasoning to drop this towel and it happened. That's a truth I can come to without God, without anything beyond myself.
Okay. I agree you can come to know truth. I'm asking you the problem. Is there a justification under atheism to trust your brain? If I created a robot that was the result of a blind,
Yes, I
accidental
just explained
process,
this. We
if
trust,
if I created
sir.
please, just please let me say this. Can I
Please.
say this, please? If I created a robot which is the result of a blind process, you would not trust the observations that robot makes. But you're saying that's how the human
Why
mind
not?
exists
Why not? We trust AI. AI can come to logical
because it's been
conclusions.
designed to know logical conclusions.
No, it has not. We don't design AI to know truth.
Um,
AI
we
comes to those conclusions on its own.
Yes, with the things that we already the reason AI
Yes, it
presupposes
has the
things.
tools. Exactly. It
Yes,
has the tools to come to truth on its own.
AI
Just like our
presuppose
mind. Hold
the
on,
reason.
sir. Just,
Okay.
oh my God. Shh. This is why you believe in garbage, because you don't listen. Just like AI, it's designing it for them, so can we. Our brains are all we need to determine truth. And from having our brain, we can determine what's true based on testing reality, based on pattern recognition, things like this. None of which are these processes require a God. You don't need God to design our brains. We know why the brain evolved. It's just chemical processes, none of which require God. God is irrelevant for truth entirely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's going back to the transcendental argument. But to continue on this point, when you made the point about AI, the comparison's not the same because the AI has already been given certain things it's already programmed with. Know things about reality that come from us, right? You
Same
agree?
with our brains to a degree because we evolved certain brain structures. See,
Yes.
AI has parameters like our brains have certain parameters or synapses. Those
Yes.
have evolved, but the truth statements those synapses produce are not evolved, just like the AI system.
But if your
The
brain
AI
wasn't
can come to
designed to
truth without somebody programming truth into them.
But if your brain wasn't designed to know truth, then what's the justification for trusting it on truth?
Because the truth is hinged upon reality, not my mind
How do you know your
necessarily.
observations are correctly observing reality?
Because we can test them. If I drop this towel, I can predict it will fall, and it happens. I just made it true.
So observe the test and the conclusion. That's an observation again.
Yes, and the observations are hinged on reality, not my mind, right? The observations come from the external world. Truth is descriptive of the world, which is mind dependent, but how we obtain the truths are coming from the external world, not the mind.
Okay, so the observations exist in the external world, great, but your interpretation of these still comes from the mind. So when you make this interpretation of what's happening in the external world, then how do you trust those interpretations of the external world?
As we test them against the external world.
But then the observation is the conclusion. Observation again, right? You're saying, well, we test them against the eternal world.
Coming from reality, right?
You're saying,
look, all we have is reality. Like all we have is the external world to go by. That's how we get truth, by looking at the external world. Right? We look at the moon, look at Jupiter. Okay, those are observations we can make. And then we use our reasoning to come to predictions and things about that. But those predictions can be tested through science, and that's what science does. Science
you have to presuppose logic even works, works independent of the mind to make your science work. Otherwise, this is all just
look,
one
sir,
opinion.
Please stop. Of course, we have no other option. Just like you don't have any other option. You presuppose logic works to come to God, right?
Because under my worldview, I can ground why logic would actually be true independent of my mind.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
What if God's deceiving you? What if God's deceiving you?
This would be contradictory to his nature. I've already said.
How did you come to the logic? Using your own mind, right? You use your own mind to say that.
I'm saying
sir, please stop. We're in the same boat. Nobody has an absolute way of verifying logic is reliable. We don't know with absolute certainty, but we have maximal certainty about logic. It gets us to it can be tested and can be tested thoroughly.
So would you accept?
The same applies to you. All you're doing is saying God gives me logic. That does nothing for you.
Don't straw man.
I can just say that. I can say evolution gives me logic. We're in the same boat.
And then I would ask you. Okay, but then you'd have a contradiction. You said evolution gives you logic, then you said logic's mind dependence. Evolution isn't a mind, so that's a contradiction in your own logic. First point. All right.
No. There's no contradiction there. Evolution brings about the processes.
Mike.
Evolution can produce the processes that generate a mind, but truths are not evolved. Truths are mind dependent.
Okay, great. But that's the point of the logic I was making, right? That truths are. Don't straw man and say
you do not need a mind beyond our minds to come to truth.
Okay. So when you said we're equal in the same boat, under this worldview, would you say in actuality that that God being real is just as likely as in not being real? You'd have to accept that.
No, God is ill-defined to me.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I guess that's...
God has a 0% chance of existing, according to me, because there's no evidence that it exists. There's no even evidence it's possible.
Wait, you mean 0.1? Like you mean
no,
do believe...
we can't assess the probability. Actually,
do you think it's impossible for God to exist?
I don't know what God is.
Do you think it's impossible for?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what God is. If you have a definition of God, then I can assess his probability.
The Christian view of God.
Yeah, I think that's impossible. The thing that entails contradictions and paradoxes.
You haven't really been able to give one, but.
Oh well, sure, I could if you want me to.
Don't go omnipotence. That's a bit boring, but you can if you want.
How many paradoxes? I mean, I can show you why the Christian God's paradoxical.
Give me one.
Does God get everything it desires?
God can no.
So then God's not omnipotent.
No, God can have a desire without. God can have a desire without actually.
But he gets everything he desires.
If I have a desire to punch you in the face, but I don't actualize it, that doesn't mean I don't have the desire.
It's a simple question. Does God get everything it desires?
No.
So it can fail in accordance with its desires?
No. It can have a desire and repress it.
Exactly.
It can have a desire and not act on it.
It desires to actualize something, but does not.
No, Mike. I can desire to do something, but then me actualizing it is different.
Okay. Does God desire? Does God get everything it desires? If it desires something, does it always get what it desires?
No, because for something to exist from God, it doesn't only have to be desired by him; it also has to be actualized. For example, let's say God desires
Right,
for you.
but
Wait,
but
can
the
I finish?
point,
Can I
but
finish?
look,
Please,
look,
please, please,
the
please,
point
please,
is that you could
please.
no,
If
no, no,
God,
no. The point is no. This is important. The point is that God could desire to suppress that. So then again, he would get everything he desires.
but if God desires for you to come to heaven, but then he doesn't actualize that because of things like he wants you to freely
Exactly. There's
choose
the
him,
paradox. There's the paradox.
what's the paradox?
Does God desire me to get to heaven?
Yes.
Okay. Does everybody get to heaven?
No, as I've already explained, God doesn't.
There, God feels like getting its
Yes,
desire.
because he doesn't have to actualize every desire.
Unless he's suppressing me from getting to heaven,
Okay,
then God get everything it desires.
okay, but God can have a desire without actualizing that desire. You're saying that like every
Okay,
desire he has.
then I just explained this to you. Then it would desire to suppress it, which means it also gets everything it desires. The point is, when it comes to his omniscience, his omnibenevolence, God is not omnipotent because it doesn't get everything it desires because it desires everybody to get to heaven, but not everybody gets to heaven. There's a
because he
paradox.
because he can have a desire and not infringe on the free will that he gave humans to freely choose.
Contradiction in God actualizing a world where everybody has free will and gets to heaven.
Um, because then we wouldn't be able to reject God, and he wants us to be able to reject him.
We could still reject God. We have free will, but we just choose to go to heaven. Why is that world impossible?
Why is it impossible?
Yeah.
I actually don't see a problem why it's impossible, but I think that freely choosing God and
Then
wait,
God doesn't get everything it desires. Then
no,
God does not get everything it
no,
desires.
because God desires you. Okay, first of all, you're interpreting what you know God's desire is, okay? Second of all, God can say, yes, I desire everybody to go to heaven, only those who freely choose me.
Yes, which is compatible with God actualizing a world where everybody has free will but gets to heaven.
Then they're not choosing heaven.
Yes,
Then they're
they are.
forced.
They are freely choosing heaven.
No, because they're going to heaven regardless of their own choice.
No,
Yes!
they have listen. They still have free will, but they use their free will to get to heaven. They choose to go to heaven, right? So they still have free will. It's just that everybody chooses to go to heaven.
But if there's no other
That's the point.
option other than heaven, then they didn't choose it, did
Okay,
they?
well, okay. Does God have free will?
Just define free will.
The
Your
ability,
version.
the ability to choose to freely choose an action without any influence.
Yeah, yeah. He's pure
Okay.
acts, but yeah, yeah.
So right. So does God always choose good actions?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you already agree that you can have a being who has free will and always chooses good actions. So why couldn't God just do this for humans? Actualize a world where we all have free will, but we are good natured such that we never choose wrong.
Because under this worldview, right, you would have to say, okay, I'll give an analogy. Me and my wife get married. I forced her to marry me, and although she said yes, she had no other choice but to marry me. The second
No,
analogy.
this is not analogous. This is
Yes,
not
it is.
analogous
Yes, it is.
because
Yes, it
in
is.
this scenario I just gave you, they have free will,
Yes, she has free will to say yes.
right? So nobody was forced.
Well, she has the ability to say yes, even if it still leads to my marriage. That's the analogy you're giving.
No, that's not analogous
Yes. Yes, it is.
because
Because you said even if they say no, they still go to heaven.
no, look, no, that's not true. That's not analogous. They have free will, but they use their free will to go to heaven, to choose to go to heaven. They freely choose to go to heaven. And this happens to everybody.
But then they didn't freely choose if there's so, let's say there's a
Yes,
force.
they did. They did. They
No.
freely okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
how
if they
about
have
this?
pre-existing conditions.
Let
No,
me
no,
do
one
this.
second. One
Let me make
second.
it more simple for you. No, let me make it simple for you because you're not understanding. I Christians choose with their free will to go to heaven. Do you agree?
No, I have a predestination view which says God elects certain people to go to heaven. We
Oh,
choose to free.
with free will.
No, yeah. So free will. We have different definitions of free will. Clearly. Um,
Sir, do people freely choose to go to heaven or are they forced to go to heaven?
do people freely choose to go to heaven, or are they forced to go to heaven? Um, They choose to go to heaven, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, they freely choose, right? So if you agree that everybody freely chooses to go to heaven, then God could have made a world where everybody freely chooses to go to heaven without being forced to.
Okay. So if I say to you, Mike, hey Mike, I'm gonna give you free will. No matter if you say yes or no, you're gonna end up in this house.
No,
Right?
that's not analogous.
How is this not
They're not
analogous?
predestined. They are not predestined to go to heaven. They freely choose to go there.
Okay. So if they say no, what happens?
They go to hell.
Wait, this was your argument the whole time? But this is
Yes.
my view. Wait,
Yeah.
what? Wait, what?
Yes.
Wait, I'm confused. I'm
Yeah, I
confused.
know you're confused because you're not tracking. You haven't tracked at all this whole time.
I have been
Let
tracking,
me
bro.
let me explain it again.
Good, good.
God could have made a world where there was two people. They
Mm-hmm.
both had free will and they used their free will to get to heaven. There you
Yes.
go.
Okay.
Okay. Why didn't God just do this for all people on the earth so that we all get to heaven? Every person to get to heaven, this should be an actualized scenario where everybody gets to heaven. Why isn't that the case?
Because why should the evil ones who don't turn to God get the same paradise as the believers? That's not just.
No, you're not. Again, you actually don't
But then that would
understand.
defeat God's all just nature of punishing sin. That defeats it, right?
No, look, people still have free will is still intact. People still have free will, just like God has free will. But these people with their free will never choose to do wrong. That's just what happens. They never choose to do wrong. Why is that an impossible world?
Why is it an impossible? It's not that it's impossible. It's that it's not desirable for God.
God desires for some people to go to hell. That's what follows.
God desires. God, okay, so this is how it works. Are you ready? God can desire everybody go to heaven, while also not infringing upon their choices. That's what can exist. I don't see a problem with that.
You're not tracking. You have not
I've
tracked this
tracked every
entire time.
single time.
Okay. Let me explain it again for you.
I'm not an idiot, man. You've been kind of mean.
God has free will but never chooses wrong, right?
Correct.
Okay. Let's say God made a world where where people exist and they have free will to choose to get to heaven.
Yes.
Imagine in this world that everybody chooses to go to heaven freely. Can you imagine that?
But how would it be free?
Because they freely chose to go to heaven. Everybody was good and they freely chose to go to
But if they're being forced to choose good, then they're forced to choose heaven because by choosing
They're
good, you
not
choose
forced.
no.
They're
By
not forced to.
choosing
They're not forced to.
by choosing
They're
good,
not forced to. They're not forced to. They're not forced to.
by
They
choosing
freely chose to go to heaven.
okay, so by freely choosing goodness, they're choosing God.
Yes, they freely chose to go to heaven.
Okay, but wait, what is the other option under this? Under this?
What do you mean other option? Either God gets his desires or he doesn't get his desires. If God desires all people to go to heaven, God could actualize this desire by giving us all free will and producing a scenario where everybody chooses to go to heaven freely.
But then
That's a possible world.
that's not as moral.
What do you mean? Why would you need any other option? When
Because
they
the
have
ability
free will to
because
go
the
to heaven,
ability
they choose freely.
because the ability to say yes or no to God is what makes it special.
They can do that. They can still choose no, but they just choose yes.
But then they can't choose no because they're forced to choose
No,
yes.
they're not. Oh my gosh, bro. They have
Yeah, that's what
free
you said.
will. Oh my, I can't believe I have to explain this a million
You
times.
said
Oh my God.
no. You said they
They
have free.
stop, stop, stop. They all have free will. They all have free will. They're not forced to go to heaven. They have free will. They have free will. Okay, let me say it again. They have free will. In this world, everybody chooses to freely go to heaven. In this world, everybody uses their free will to go to heaven. So, in this world, why didn't God make that happen? Why did God make a world where people choose to go to hell? Why
Okay.
didn't he actualize the one where everybody?
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying that if we have free will, there's a contradiction here, right? You're saying we have free will, but we always choose yes to heaven. That's a contradiction. That's not possible.
Why is it not possible for everybody to choose freely to go to heaven?
Because then we don't have free will. Because we
They're
can't.
freely choosing to go to heaven. They're freely choosing to go to heaven.
But you're saying that they automatically say yes
All
to
right, let me
heaven.
try this again. Let me try this again for another way because you're
You
not
said they say
understanding.
yes.
Let me try. Let me try again for you. Can you imagine one person freely choosing to go to heaven?
Yes.
Can you imagine two people freely choosing to go to heaven?
Yes.
Can you imagine 10 people freely choosing to go to heaven?
Yes.
They have free will, right?
Only because they can also reject heaven.
Right, right. Now imagine the same scenario, but 100 people freely choose to go to heaven. Is that still free will?
Do they still have the ability to say no and not go heaven?
Yep.
Yes. Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Now imagine 100,000 people all freely choosing to go to heaven. Is that possible?
Yes.
Yay! Okay. Now imagine 10 million people choosing to go to heaven freely. Is that free will still?
Yes. Stop being an
Imagine
asshole, man.
8 billion. Imagine 8 billion people freely choosing to go to heaven. Is that free will still?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yay! So God could have made a world where everybody has free will, no matter what number of people, and they still go to heaven freely. God could have chose that world. Why didn't he?
Okay. Yeah. So the problem is here. You're saying, right? Okay, under this question, do they all automatically like say yes to heaven or not, or do they freely choose it? Just yes or no. Okay, do they freely choose heaven if they don't have
Come
the option?
on, bro.
No.
Do I
Do
have to do this again,
no,
bro?
no. Just answer the question,
Come
yes or no.
on.
Do they?
Yes. Yes, they freely choose.
Okay, if they freely choose no, I can't. If they freely choose no, are they now going hell?
Yeah,
That's the
yes.
world we have now.
Yes.
But that's the world we have now.
No, it's not. You just agreed that not everybody goes to heaven.
Yeah,
Some
those
people go
who
to hell.
yeah, those who don't desire to go to heaven.
Exactly. So why didn't God make the other world? Why did he make this world? If he desires everybody to go to heaven, why did he make this world?
Well, this is hurting me. Okay, so the other world, everybody has free will, but they all choose heaven.
Yep.
But then that you see that they all choose heaven. There's a force in place that's pushing them to choose heaven.
No, there is no forcing. There's no
So why do they
forcing
all choose heaven? Why?
because they use their free will to choose it.
Well, there's a driving factor stopping that.
What stop? You just agreed that it's possible. How is it impossible now?
It's impossible to maintain free will if God puts a force in place that makes everyone choose heaven.
No, there is no force. Everybody has free will, but they choose to go to heaven with it. There's no
But you're,
contradiction there.
but you're saying God should have made everybody with this like you should have got. You're saying God should have made everybody who freely chose heaven. But then this takes away the freely choosing.
No, it doesn't. They still have free will to choose it, but they just use their free will to choose it. Nobody's forced. Nobody's forced. They choose it freely.
But if this is a possible world, I agree it's a possible world. I just think it infringes on free will.
Okay, great. So you agree that there's a possible world where everybody goes to heaven, but it didn't happen. So why did God make this world where not everybody goes to heaven?
Because the action of freely choosing heaven is more moral. Why can't you?
That's still intact in the other world. That's the same in the other world.
No, it's not.
Yes,
Because
it
heaven's
is. They
already
still
been.
have. All right, this is
No,
this is
you
the
can't.
last time I'm going to explain this to you because I'm sorry, sir, but you are just not catching on. Everybody has free will. Everybody has free will. They use their free will to go to heaven.
Then this isn't free will.
How is it not free will if I just said it's free will? They
Well,
choose to go to heaven freely.
okay, because my definition of free will is when you say they choose to go to heaven freely automatically, you're saying there is
No,
something.
there is no automatic.
Why are they all choosing heaven? Why?
Because they freely chose it.
But then God's infringing on the free choice.
How? How is God infringing on that?
Okay, if I say like to my child, I don't have a child, I'm 20, but if I have a child, right, and I say, hey, you want to freely choose to go to McDonald's, right? And he says yes, but I still was going to take him to McDonald's regardless. That's not free choice.
No, I agree with you, but that's not analogous to the situation.
But it is.
God is not forcing anybody to go to heaven. He designed a world where everybody has the free choice, but in this world, people happen to choose all to go to heaven.
Well, then that's a best possible world for free agency. God just made free agency.
Exactly. So why didn't God make that world?
Because he values the free agency that can choose evil as well.
They still have free will. Oh my God.
No,
They-
this isn't
they
free will,
still-
Mike. This isn't
let
free
me-
will.
Let me say this again. Let me say this again. Can you imagine a world where one person has free will and gets to heaven?
Yes.
Can you imagine a world where 10 people have free will and get to heaven?
Yes.
Choose to get to heaven?
Yes.
Can you imagine a world where 1,000 people they all choose to go to heaven freely? Can you imagine that world?
Yes.
Can you imagine a world where 10 million people all have free will, but they
Yes.
all happen to choose to go to heaven? Okay. Can you imagine a world where everybody happens to use their free will to get to heaven? That's 8 billion people.
It's a possibility. Yes.
Great.
Now
So you
here's
agree that they all have free will, right? They all have free will, right?
No, they don't have free will. Not in this, because I'll tell you why. Because you're saying
Oh.
God has designed it in a way where they automatically choose these things.
No, they don't automatically choose. They use their free will to get there. They freely choose it.
But wait. But then the problem wouldn't be on God. Like now in this world where they don't choose it, then the problem isn't on God. The problem is the only solution you're.
Why didn't God make that world where that happened? Why did He make this world where people go to hell if He desires all of us to go to heaven?
Say that again. Why does
God
He
had
make?
a choice. God had a choice.
Mm-hmm.
He could have chose a world where everybody chooses to go to heaven, or He could have chose a world where everybody chooses to people go to choose to hell.
Because
Why
that first
didn't
world
God
infringes
make
on free will.
There is no forcing at all. It's just two worlds where people happen to choose to go to heaven. It's just
Okay.
probability.
Okay. So God makes this world, right? So wait, what's the distinction in this world? You think the distinction is everybody in that world chooses heaven?
Yes.
Okay. And the thing that's causing all these people in the separate worlds to go to heaven is what?
Their free will. They choose it freely.
But that's like saying if I make a robot that can only lead to one conclusion
No.
and it
it's-
chooses
we
freely,
have
then
free
it's not
will,
free.
still intact. We have free will. It's still intact. Free will is still intact. We still have free will.
But then it's not free will.
What do you mean? How is it not free will?
Free
if we have- if
choice,
free will?
free will, where I'm already predestined to go somewhere, is not free will.
You're not predestined. You're not predestined.
How
You
are you
have free
not?
will to choose to go there. You can choose freely to go to heaven. But everybody to go to heaven freely. They happen to choose to go to heaven. It's probability.
Well, then blame humans' free agency.
You're still not tracking because that's irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant.
Why didn't God make that world where everybody chooses to go to heaven?
Why didn't God make the world where everybody automatically chooses to go to heaven? Is that the
No,
question?
not automatically. No.
How can they have free will if
Why
God's
did it-
designing them in this
All right,
way?
let me- one more time, because I have hope for you, sir. God could have chose a world where everybody uses their free will. They all happen to, because of probability, they happen to use their free will to go to heaven. Why didn't God make that world?
Stop doing the eyelash. So, I'm gonna cry. I can't even say it. The reason, okay, for this, you know, when you say God designed it so that humans freely chose heaven? Yes. This designed it part is what's infringing on that original free will.
It's the same design.
No,
It's
it's
the
not.
same world.
No,
It's just
it's
the
not.
people that choose it freely. It's the same exact world. They're the same worlds. They're just people use their free will to choose differently. That's the only difference. It's people that choose it differently, not
But
the
this,
world that's different.
but this infringes on God's justness of like he punishes sin. That infringes
It's,
on that.
how does it infringe on his justice?
But when you say it's the same world, but they freely choose heaven, you're saying that there is something God did to make us freely choose heaven.
No,
You
there's
have
nothing
to.
he chose. There's nothing he chose. People chose it. People chose it freely.
But that's not what happened.
Yes, it is. People freely chose to go to heaven in that world. That's what happened. Why didn't God make that one?
Okay. So when you say, why didn't God design a world where humans freely, every human freely chose heaven? Yeah, yeah, great. Yes.
Yes.
In this part where you say he made a world where everybody chooses heaven, that completely contradicts free will.
It's the same world. There's no difference in the world design. It's just that people choose differently.
But then if he's altering how we choose, then it's not free will.
He's not altering how we choose.
But he
There's no
is.
difference in design.
He is, because we can't say no to
No,
heaven.
he's not. There is no difference in the design of the world. It's people that choose it differently. It's we that choose differently.
So you're saying God should have made our free agency different?
No, he should have made a world where everybody uses their free will to go to heaven. That would be a better world where everybody goes to heaven, which would be alignment with his desires. But we live in a world that's the opposite. What desire people to go to hell?
Okay. This world that you're
This is
talking
the
about,
paradox. This is the paradox.
it's not
And
a
I know
paradox, Mike.
it is a paradox because you're not able to answer it correctly. You don't even understand what we're.
I do.
What
Wait,
I'm
what would be
talking
the point of heaven then? Under this world?
Exactly.
No, under this
That's the
world.
point. That we could all be in heaven. Why didn't God make this world heaven?
Why didn't God make this world heaven? Because it's better for someone to freely choose him than reject him, than to be forced into heaven.
Nobody's forced.
Yes, they are.
They freely choose to go to heaven.
Yes, with a pre-existing condition in their mind, right? That was designed that God made to make them all choose
there
heaven.
was no. Everybody freely chooses to go to heaven. Why didn't God make that world? This is the last time I'm going to do this. I'm so tired of this garbage.
You're having fun, don't lie. So, okay. If I design a robot that has free choice to make.
Next. We're not robots. I never said we're robots. We have free will. Next. Please learn. You're not catching on. You're not tracking. I'm sorry, sir. I tried my best to make hard, guys, but guess what? He did not even understand what I was saying the whole time. He could not grasp it. Oh, how can I help you?
Yo, yo, Mike.
Yeah.
Yo, can you bring up the other guy, that Christian Rex? Yo, I want to debate with them.
No, we're not debating that guy again. He doesn't grasp logic. What's your logic?
Now,
Forgot.
I just wanna see him prove his point so bad. What I can just let him
He
down.
doesn't even look. He doesn't even understand the point. Let me ask you the point to see if you understand it. If God made the world, could God have made a world where everybody has free will and chooses to go to heaven freely?
Hey, brother, I'm gonna tell you my POV. Alright. So basically, the free will. He was basically saying that when we are just born, we should automatically choose to go to heaven. Well, that shit don't make
No,
sense at
that's
all.
not what I'm saying. I'm saying that God could have made a world where we all have free will and all freely choose to go to heaven. Why didn't God make that one?
Well, apparently, I don't know what he's saying. Right? Can I just say my point real quick?
All right, switch get some guests here. Sorry, guys, phone died. Keep tapping. Let's get some more people in here.
Hello. Yeah. So just to continue to the point, basically, it was you're asking like why God won't create only good people, right?
Well, why didn't God make a world where people all choose to go to heaven freely?
That's the thing, because we don't choose to go to heaven or hell. God choose, not us.
Okay, great. So then we're all predestined to go to hell. Then God predestines us to burn. That's not love to me.
We have the free will. We have the free to choose how to behave, and our behavior gonna makes us go to hell or go to heaven. That's the thing.
Okay, is it lagging, guys? Is it lagging for you guys? A little? Okay. Yeah, no, look, nobody's understanding my point here. Nobody grasps what I'm saying, and it's really sad to there's no contradiction in a world where everybody chooses to go to heaven freely. And God could have made that world, but he made this one where people don't choose to go to heaven. So seems to be contradictory to his nature. I was caught in a gotcha. Oh, really? What was the argument that got me? Where did I lose? Go ahead. Show me where I lost, right? When you guys literally don't know what I'm saying. You don't even grasp what I'm saying. You're so, you want God to be real. You want God to be real so badly. You're not even listening to what I'm saying. Nobody listened to what I'm saying today. Nobody's listening. You have not pointed out a contradiction. You haven't even refuted me properly.
You hear
Hi.
me?
Yeah.
What he's trying to say to you is that the word made, if someone made something, okay, if you don't want to hear it, I'll get off. But that's what I came up here for, the same topic about free will. If God made a world where we all choose to go to heaven, the key word is made. He made it. So then what choice do we have if he already made it that way?
We have it. Look, he didn't choose to make us go to heaven. He chose to make the world. It's just that in this world, we happen to choose to go to heaven.
Why would that be something that would happen?
Because we used our free will.
But if he made it, if he designed it and programmed it in a way that it happened for us to go to heaven,
He didn't program for us to choose. He programmed for us to make a choice in the first place.
do you hear yourself?
He didn't program us to to choose heaven, sir. He designed the world for us to make a decision with our free will.
So what would be
And
the
then
point
it's
of
just
Earth?
that in that world we happen to choose to go to heaven.
So what would be the point of Earth? Because we would already be in heaven.
No, we go to earth and we choose to go to heaven.
For what reason? You might as well put us.
Oh, that's another separate topic. Look,
Like, it's not a separate topic,
I-
and if you think so, you have a
it's
very low
like talking
IQ. So I'm
it's
sorry
like
to insult you.
I can't believe nobody grasps this.
Because
It's really
everybody
sad to
grabs
me.
this. Because it's 20
No,
of
you
us.
don't. No, you don't. And stop being dishonest.
I am
And
not.
listen,
Why would I come up here to be this?
because you're Christian. Now, God is not forcing us or designing us to choose heaven. God created the same world. It's the same world as this one, the same design, except that in this other world, everybody to choose to go to heaven. That's it. That's the only difference. Everybody chooses to go to heaven.
So why aren't we just
That's it.
already
They
in heaven?
choose to go to
Just put
heaven
us in
and with their
heaven.
free will.
Already.
And that is the world that is actualized. Why didn't God make that one?
Because then we wouldn't be able to go to hell if there's only heaven. What else
No,
would we choose?
we would be able to go to hell. We just chose to go to heaven.
So what's the
instead
point of hell? For it to be empty?
Oh my God!
No,
It doesn't matter what the point of hell is. The point.
Of course it doesn't matter because it means I can't deal with stupidity.
How fucking ironic. Guys, it's not hard. This isn't calculus. Everybody has free will. They all choose to go to heaven. Yay. That's the world that God designed. He didn't design us to go to heaven. He designed a world that we happen to choose to go to heaven in. That's it. Just like he designed this world where people happen to choose to go to hell. So the point is that God could have chose a world where everybody goes. Well, right, that's the paradox here. And nobody can answer it because there is no answer unless you're going to concede that God is evil or not all powerful. That's the paradox. That's the paradigm. That's the issue. So this is an evidential problem of evil, a form of the problem of evil that nobody's really grasping here. Nobody's really grasping it. No, the free will is the same as yours. My definition of free will is the same as yours, right? The ability to choose freely without influence. God is not influencing us to choose anything. We are choosing on our own terms.
Yo, how you doing?
Hi, what do you got?
I'm actually I don't believe any religion. I watch your debates on YouTube, and I wish you luck for what you're doing, for proving all these Christian that there's no God.
Well, thank you, but I'm not here to prove there's no God. I'm here to show you that your logic is bad. Your logic itself is terrible. Hey, how can I help you?
Really?
Hello?
What's going on?
Yeah, how can I help you today?
Evolutionary effect. Is evolution a fact?
So I guess we're just going to go with what we see here. Tell us why you think God is imaginary, and tell us why we should go vegan.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence of a God, and I don't want to harm
Yeah,
animals, so
but
I'm
yeah, okay. Well, all right. Well, okay. Now that's a fair point. Like you made one point there. You don't want to harm animals. I get that part. You say there's no evidence, but you got to look at it a bit more wider than that. When you say there's no evidence, do you mean like in the world that you're seeing, there's no evidence? So like the physical world, there's no evidence?
no evidence in any world I see. Nothing. There's no evidence at all in any way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No evidence in the world that you see, but you're looking at the five senses here. Your touch, sight, smell, taste, and your hearing. That's in the three-dimensional world, the physical world, but in most sense, they say that so-called God is a spiritual experience of some kind of a higher
Okay,
mystical
fantastic.
being.
Great. So how do you know that the spiritual world exists? What's your evidence of the spiritual world?
Well, that's the thing. You can't measure in the physical sense because it's
So how
beyond
do you
that
know
of
it exists? So how
three-dimensional
do you know
power.
it?
So you
How
say
do you know it
mental health.
exists?
What is
How do
mental
you
health?
know it exists? How do you know it exists?
Well, I have dreams, buddy. I see. I have dreams.
All right. Have a good day. Guys, I can't tolerate this nonsense. I just can't. Right? There's a certain threshold I reach where it's just like frustrating to deal with this shit. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey, how can I help you?
Yeah. Now I was asking if you have heard of the Kamaya wave theory
No.
from Dr. Kakarot. It's a Japanese doctor that theorizes that the world came through like something called a spirit bomb, went through Frieza.
Okay. Great. What's your evidence of the spirit bomb?
Yeah, like he theorized that the atoms and things of it has like something called destructo disk inside of it, and destructo disk can
Oh my gosh, bro. This is really frustrating that people don't understand basic logic. They don't care for evidence. They don't care for facts. Really sad. Really, really sad. Started speaking facts. You guys think that he was speaking facts? Like, that's ridiculous. Just like Dragon Ball Z. You knew you were losing. Losing what? What was I, guys? What was I losing there? He gave no evidence.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, how can I help you?
So, yeah, I'm just joining the live here. So, God is imaginary. I think I guess like the cultural idea of God, like perhaps in the biblical sense, looking at the Bible, the Quran, text, perhaps that could have been a product of its time. But I'm not opposed like to the idea of deism, like the idea it's almost like simulation theory that this universe is perhaps a simulation created by something else.
Okay, congratulate. I know what it means.
Okay.
So,
So my
do
question,
you
my
believe in
question to
something
you is like,
supernatural?
what's your view on deism? Because that could work with like evolution and stuff like that.
Congratulations, but I think deism is, to me, just as baseless as theism. No evidence of a mind beyond the universe. There's no evidence of that. Do you have any evidence of that?
I would say I don't have like concrete evidence. It's more so just looking at like patterns, like how like I would use an example of like evolution, points to the fact that it's almost like I wouldn't say divine intervention happened. Like I don't think humans were just spontaneously created, but evolution does point to perhaps the idea that it's almost like we're in this algorithm of like things grow over time and they evolve and they adapt, and what's the thing that initiated that process. So perhaps that points to some type of creator, which is why I throw to you that maybe perhaps
Yeah,
the
it's
religious version of God is imaginary, but the scientific version of God, which is probably more deistic, maybe that's not imaginary.
Yeah. So just be like, we understand that there's laws in nature. If you're going to say that the laws in nature are God, then congratulations. But laws in nature behind don't need to be a being or a personal entity or any kind of entity like that. It could just be nature itself. It could just be space-time properties of it necessarily existing. So I don't. Yeah, to me, this conversation is not worthwhile. But yeah, thanks for coming up. This is like Spinoza's God kind of.
Hello?
Help you.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, um, it says go vegan. How exactly do you propose I start doing that?
You learn, you educate yourself, you learn about the animals, learn about agriculture, learn about vegan foods, learn about slaughterhouses, learn about factory farming, educate yourself, and then take steps.
Okay.
Reduce your meat intake, reduce your dairy intake slowly, and you can change. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, as far as vegan foods, like, what kind of recipes would you recommend, or where would I get recipes? Because I've actually been looking for
There's
this.
tons online. There's lots of stuff on meal plans and diets. Go learn, right? Learning is information's abundant today. Go learn. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
All right. I wish we had better conversations today. Unfortunately, we had very poor conversations. If we get somebody else here, maybe we can have more guests, but that was the best convo you ever had. No, not at all. I've had better, but I think that was a largely wasted time because he didn't understand what I was saying. As it happens most of the time, people don't understand what I'm saying. They don't really grasp logic.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Hi, how can we help you?
So, did you know that the Earth is flat?
What's your evidence?
Water's flat.
No, water's not flat. Water curves along with the surface of the Earth.
Have you seen it curve?
Yeah, we can see it with microscope, binoculars and shit.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you just can't see it.
Do you have an actual argument, or you're just gonna troll?
It's not a troll. It's flat, but I'm trying to.
Okay, why? What's your argument for flat Earth? Why?
It doesn't.
How do we have daylight and how do we have day and night if the Earth is flat and the sun is above us?
It's a magnetic system. It's not. You can't actually go to it. I don't think. Did you know that every astronaut was a Freemason? They won on the moon.
No, that's not true, and more importantly, it doesn't matter. It's just they're just people. So go ahead and demonstrate that the Earth is flat with actual evidence.
I mean, when you look in your horizon, everything's flat.
No, we can measure the curvature with certain tools like binoculars. We can measure buildings. Their horizon allows us to not see the bottom of the, but we don't see the bottoms of mountains far enough away. This is basic shit.
I don't know about the bottom of the mountain thing. You have like a picture?
Yeah, you can look it up online or you can do it yourself, but I don't see why. I don't see any evidence of a flat Earth. I'd love to see it though.
It's just kind of basic. When you think about water in a cup, water's flat. So if
Bro.
if you believe in the globe, then that means that you believe that at a swimming pool.
There is a small curvature because of gravity, but
Bro,
it's not
it doesn't make
measurable
any sense.
on a scale such as
You
that.
think
On a larger scale. Look, sir, you want to talk over me, fine, but you're going to go bye-bye, right? Like, just listen for a second. There is a certain degree of curvature that happens to any substance because of the Earth's gravity. But on a small local level, it's not noticeable. It's barely measurable, okay? On a larger scale, we can measure it. That's how we do it. Explain us the evidence with actual data.
So when a kid goes down a slide and its hair spikes up because of electricity, the electricity is stronger than gravity. But at the same time, the gravity.
Yeah, because hair is very light. It doesn't, and you have wind resistance too. That's all forcings applied to that hair follicle. Gravity is not that strong.
But it's strong enough to make hot air balloons float upside down.
Hot air balloons?
Hot air balloon on the equator is gonna be vertical.
They are using helium gas because it's less dense than the area around it, so that's why they float. They're less dense. That's what's causing the buoyancy. That's what's causing the force.
So
the force upwards,
wait,
not gravity.
okay, wait. So you know about the magnetic poles, right? The north and south magnetic poles. So
Mhm.
you're telling me that that's created by the sun, right? Because the
No.
coldest parts.
No, it's not. The Earth's magnetic fields are generated by the electromagnetic forces occurring in the Earth's core.
Why is there an east and a west pole?
Because there's certain polar caps to the Earth. It doesn't happen on the east and west. It's a magnet. There's a dipole. It's a dipole. There's only two. There's not four.
So the poles, the two coldest poles, are because they're the furthest away from the sun, and yet they're also the magnetic.
No. The Earth's axis is 23 degrees. Sometimes the south is closest to the sun, and sometimes the north is closest to the sun. It's the actual tilt that causes the warming, that causes the warming effect, the cooling effect of the ice caps.
All right. So okay, but what about veganism? Why are you pro-vegan?
Because I don't want to harm innocent animals that don't have to be harmed.
You think animals have souls?
I don't know what a soul is. I don't know if anybody has a soul.
So like a soul is like when you do something and then you get embarrassed about it. Like an animal wouldn't get embarrassed. Like I don't know how to.
Sure they do. Sure they do. Many animals get embarrassment. Many animals have that. Not just we.
Well, so you don't eat meat ever?
No.
And you're still alive?
I think so.
You just eat vegetables and fruit?
No, I eat beans, grains, pastas. There's vegan pizza, vegan nuggets. There's all kinds of vegan food.
The soy protein?
Yeah, soy is vegan too.
Soy is not good for your testosterone.
There's no evidence that it changes your testosterone in any significant way. In fact, it's healthy for you. Soy is very healthy for you.
Well, I think the Earth is flat, man. I don't think it makes sense to have other planets.
Okay. And where's the sun? If the Earth is flat, where's the sun?
Above the equator. The same place.
Okay. So then if the Earth is flat, then why is it that the sun goes away from our view If it's above us, it would be like a lamp on a tabletop where all parts of the table could see the sun.
It goes like clouds do.
Where? Where does it go right
It
of
goes
you?
east and west, or the sun.
But you would still be able to see it if the Earth is flat.
The sun travels east.
It doesn't matter where it travels. If the Earth is flat, we would be able to see the sun at all times.
No, then that's like saying
In fact, we'd actually see the sun get smaller and bigger. We don't see that either.
yes, you do actually.
No, we don't. The sun does not get bigger or smaller.
There's a video proof of the sun getting smaller as it sets.
Are you serious? Are you
I've
trolling?
I've watched it. I've watched.
A video does not purport correctly to reality all the time, because in the video there could be lensing effects or all kinds of different effects that can distort that picture.
So you believe in the Big Bang?
Yeah, do you know what the Big Bang is?
It's I used to believe it. It's a quantum randomness of a quantum thing happening.
No, it's a expansion or stretching of space-time.
Do you think that there's all these planets that just have no life, and they're just orbiting the sun and we're just moving and orbiting and twisting and turning, and yet you can stack playing cards on top of each other and they won't fall over, and we're spinning at 400,000.
Because the motion of all of those cards are moving at the same exact rate as the Earth's rotation. That's why it seems like, from our perspective, relatively speaking, there is no motion, because we're all moving at the same speed. It's the constant speed that we're all traveling with. That's why it seems like we're stationary. But if you were to go into space and look at the Earth, you would see the rotational speed. It's amazing, but it's reality.
Have you ever seen a 45-degree hot air balloon facing 45 degrees?
Okay, what about it?
That's what you're implying when you say that there's a globe.
Degrees are relational. It's the way things float from the Earth is just relational. There's no absolute direction.
So if you flew up in a helicopter for 12 hours in the air, you'd be on the other side of the globe.
No, because the helicopters.
So the clouds are rotating with the Earth?
Yes. Yes.
But they go
Everything is.
they go at different
Everything
speeds.
because of gravity. Gravity calls it together.
I don't know. We might have to agree to disagree.
Well,
Also-
that's a cop out, because you have no evidence to suggest otherwise.
Look at the flight paths. The flight paths are all crooked. They're all crooked.
That's necessarily the case, because the Earth is spherical. There's never going to be a straight line. Because when we translate a three-dimensional map onto a 2D paper, it's going to seem like a three-dimensional sphere. It's perfectly understandable as to why the planes have those specific trajectories.
All right. I'm going to say one last thing before I go to everyone in the comments. If this is going to prove how space is fake, all right? Go watch Dude Perfect Goes to Space on YouTube. It's the fakest video I've ever seen in my entire life. Watch Dude Perfect Goes to Space. It is retarded.
Yeah, why is it fake? Because you don't understand what you're looking at?
Because it's fake, bro. Wake up.
Why? What about it makes it fake?
It's fake. Okay. I'm sorry. I
Why?
can't explain.
Why?
That's what, dude. Because this is what the Freemasons do, bro. They specialize in this. They specialize in this, bro.
Why is it fake, sir? Why is it fake?
You think Dude Perfect would go to space?
Anybody can go to space, sir. You just need a plane or a high enough rocket. What is your reasoning as to why the Earth is flat? Or the space is fake?
Because I've thought it was flat ever since I've come into this Earth. I've never thought it was a globe.
You've always been uneducated. Okay. Do you have any actual evidence, or should I kick you now?
I'm gonna leave, but Dude Perfect didn't go to space.
Hello?
Hi, how can we help you?
No, I just have like a question about creation. So,
You sound familiar.
I sound familiar? I don't think I've talked to you before. All right. My question is what do you think triggered the events leading up to the Big Bang?
Well, we don't know for sure, but quantum fluctuations seem to be the proper candidate.
Okay, wait, repeat.
Quantum fluctuation.
Okay. So, can you explain that to me?
Well, I don't feel like being Bill Nye tonight, but sure, I could. There is a hypothetical space-time in which there's a quantum field. This is a mathematical description of that because of certain fluctuations in these energy levels, it can render these particles or substances, quantum particles, in a false vacuum state. And if it's get locked there, then it can lead to an expanding inflaton field, which then, as it inflates particles within it, called inflaton particles decay, and then turn into an inflationary universe like we see today, or at the Big Bang, and slowly the gravity takes over and overcomes dark energy, and the universe slows in its acceleration, and now here we are today.
Okay, interesting. But like, where does everything begin? Like with the whole like Big Bang thing, I have a hard time seeing like where things actually begin.
Maybe that question's malformed. Maybe there is no beginning. Maybe the universe is infinite and there is no beginning.
That's an
Perhaps beginnings are relative. Perhaps what we designate as beginnings are just placeholders for this infinite space-time. We don't know. But if there is a beginning, why must it be some God? Why can't it be something natural?
I mean, according to like overall logic, everything has to be created, you know. It has to have a
Okay, then who created God? And where did God begin?
God is outside of time and out of space, and he's always existed, basically.
Oh, so everything needs a start except for God.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to say that God doesn't need a start, why can't we say the universe doesn't need to start?
I mean, the universe is not it's not like something that can create itself. The only logical reason is that someone created it.
Or maybe it's always there. Why is that illogical?
I mean, it's illogical because everything needs the beginning. If it's
That's question begging. You're just assuming this for your argument. Maybe why is it impossible that the universe is infinite?
I mean, because everything needs a start.
Why? Why does everything need a start? Why can't the universe be infinite?
Because if there wasn't a start, we wouldn't be here.
Why not?
Because it never started.
But we still can be here. Why couldn't we be here though?
I don't really know how to explain this in another way.
Are you saying that we would have to traverse an infinite amount of time to get to this present moment?
I mean, no, because we need a beginning.
Well, I'm sorry, sir, but that's not going to do it for us. I mean, you need to elaborate more as to what you mean. You know, understand more about what you're even arguing for.
Yeah,
It
listen,
seems
I
like you don't
apologize,
understand.
man. Like English is my second language. It's
Okay.
it's not
Okay,
easy.
I understand that, but what I would do is go learn more about science, right? In order to
No,
ask,
I'm all about learning, man.
great, fantastic. In order to answer these big questions, where did we come from? What began this? We need science. Science is the study of the empirical world. That's where the answers lie.
Yeah.
Science is the key to understanding the Big Bang. That's why you need to learn more science. So I would go back to the drawing board, learn more, and then come back to me when you're ready. Okay.
Okay. I got you, man. Have a good one.
Thank you for yes, thank you, and thank you for being honest. Right. This is why I love honest people. Hey, I don't know, but let me find out. That's honesty. That's admirable. Not somebody who says, God must be real because I'm right. You can't be right, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Hi, welcome in. How can I help you?
So a few things. The first thing I was gonna go ahead and say was the God is imaginary is kind of an I don't know whether to say arrogant or ignorant thing to assume, because first of all, the only thing you know when you get born onto this planet is the only thing you know is real is yourself. So you yourself, the only thing you know that exists is yourself, correct? You don't know for a fact that I exist or anybody else exists. You only know that you exist.
Well, we have certain understanding of things. It's not that I know for sure or have absolute certainty. I have a certain degree of certainty about certain things. In terms of existing itself, I would say that I'm very certain about that. Something has to exist for
So
you
the
to even
only
ask the question.
thing that you're
However, when it comes to things around me, I cannot be absolutely certain. I'm less certain that I'm not in a simulation or
I
in some
agree.
kind of illusory existence. The point is that it's not black and white. There are certain degrees and amounts of certainty that you can have in regards to certain truth claims.
Yeah, so a little bit like not really on that track that you just went on. It's more the point is if you only know that you exist for sure, which you just kind of agreed to, like you only know that you exist for 100% certain, that would mean that you would have to be intelligent enough to create everything around you, the entire world, every video game, every social media app, everything. You would have to create that using your own intelligence. Must be a higher intelligence to create something as intricate as the life that you're living in right now.
No, we have mechanisms that describe perfectly fine why we exist in this way. But also, if you're arguing that because we're so intricate, therefore there must be an intelligent design, well, how about
It's
God?
extremely intelligent.
Okay, how about God? Is God intricate in his properties?
I mean, I'm not sure, but it's just the fact that I've thought deeply about it, and if there isn't a God, and I only know for certain that I personally exist, I'm not for certain know that other people exist. That would mean that I would have had to create all of these things.
No, this is
Create.
faulty logic because
have
there
to
are
be
different
created.
degrees. You're discounting the fact that there are different degrees. This is a black and white fallacy. You're not open to a third option here. You're simply saying it's either that God exists or I create everything around me. That's a black and white fallacy. There is a third option. Maybe there's a mechanism for things that exist, and we are certain about these things to a slightly lesser degree than we are of our existence.
Yeah, but you're only certain of your own existence, is what I'm saying, Mike. You're only certain of your own existence.
No, I'm certain of many things. I'm certain that the sun exists. I'm certain that
And you're only certain of your own existence. Who could have created the sun except for yourself or some sort of higher intelligence, like a god?
the sun is a ball of plasma that gravitationally happened. There is a cascade of physical
Yes, and
phenomena
I'm
that
saying
occurred.
that is extremely intricate, and you only know that you exist, Mike. You couldn't have
I don't know
created
why
the
that's
sun
relevant.
and
If
gravity
I
and
know,
all this other
look,
shit.
I know,
No
I
human
know
could have
that.
came up with this shit.
Look, I understand where you're coming from. You're looking around the world. You're going, wow, everything's so intricate. There must be somebody. But the problem
I'm
is
kind of
that
certain, to be honest with you.
the problem is that we know the reason why things are intricate, and those things don't need somebody to design them. There are natural reasons that explain, just as you think there's a supernatural explanation. And I don't see why we need to invoke a god at all.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, man. What's your evidence that that theory you were just explaining a few people ago about something with plates causing the Big Bang theory, like that? There's only
This is
there's
mathematics.
only one truth, and it's God. Like, none of that stuff is backed with any sort of like actual concrete. This is like what it definitely
Oh, sure
is.
there is. Sure there is. There's lots of mathematics and physics involved in quantum theories and in relativity.
But how can you
They-
prove with mathematics that the Earth was created due to some sort of reaction, like you were saying? How can you
We can
prove that
measure it.
mathematically?
We can observe rocks on the Earth with zircon crystal dating. We can see the age of the Earth. We can see asteroids. We can date those, and the same zircon crystals there, the same age. There's a corroboration of data there. There's an amount of data that is sufficient to exist in an
But
actual way.
there's also a mountain of data that like supplies the truth, and the truth is all of animals were created, put onto Earth with the firmament dome.
Where's your
Over
evidence?
top
Where's
of
your
it,
evidence? At?
fish die, they create oil, the oil seeps into the ground, that creates the shale oil layer underneath the Earth, and it's a perfectly
Sir, what is your
intelligent thing
evidence
that
of
God
God?
created that
Sir,
we're
what
living
is
in.
your evidence?
And you're
Sir,
being disrespectful by sitting here with a God is a
sorry. Some people are dishonest. They can't debate honestly. That was one of them.
Hey man, can you hear me?
Yep. How can I help you?
So first off, I'd like to say I watch your lives every night, and although our beliefs don't align, I respect the heck out of you. You know, you stick to your logic. That's awesome. I mainly had a few questions that I wanted to ask because I respect you to hear your opinion because you have your logic in order. So one of the things that obviously you ask a lot about is what is your proof for God? And this is going to sound so confusing, but I'll explain it in a second. Is it possible when talking about proof for God, it could be subjective? Now, I know it's not the same as like the proof for science, right? But like me, I got in a severe car accident a couple years back, and they basically said if I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, you know, I could have been paralyzed or killed with the way that the car wrecked. Now, for me, based off of my beliefs, I choose to see that as proof, right? But like to someone who's not a believer, they would be like, okay, so it comes down to how you landed, like just the way the events played out, right? So that's kind of why I was asking, like, is it possible that it could be subjective based on my belief, right?
Well, so you're assuming that you're saying that there's a possibility that there's a super for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is here that you are discounting entirely the natural explanation for that. That we are perhaps. By the way, I'm glad that you're here still. But you're discounting the fact that there could be a natural reason for this, and you're for some reason letting your ego get in the way and saying, well, there must be some reason I'm alive. I must be important to some man out there who cares about me. And I think that's what's getting in the way. I think you're discounting the natural reason entirely.
Okay.
I'm not discounting either or, but I'm saying that there's no evidence of the.
Thank you. Another quick question I had, and it's mainly just because I like to do these debates, but I just want to be more informed. The other night on one of your debates, when you were talking with a gentleman, you had said that according to the Big Bang, you know, that the way that energy perpetuated, it was able to form, right? So I guess so if we're talking in terms of like, you know, creating the first like animal or whatever, that energy was able to form and create, right? I guess what I'm trying to get at is if that's how the Earth started, why is it not continually doing that? Like, was there like a point where it stopped? Like, I know this may sound confusing, but like, prediction, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask. If that energy can, so like with animals, like if that energy was able to create and form itself to bring an animal into life, why is it not causing an overpopulation if that energy is going to be the same, I guess?
Well, because if there was an overpopulation, then there would be a collapse. There would be a collapse of the ecosystem, which would then render them extinct eventually, right? There has to be a balance between the ecosystem and the animals within it. If there's a disbalance, there will be extinctions.
Okay.
Sooner or later, there will be extinctions. So that's why throughout history, there have been different animals over time, and that's what we see around us. There's no reason to think that there's somebody out there designing animals at all.
Okay. All right.
What we see is perfectly in alignment with what evolutionary theory describes.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. And keep learning. That's why I'm here. So you guys can learn, right? Hey, what does this Mike guy say? Oh, that sounded cool. Let me see what it's all about, right? That Mike guy, he's wrong. Let me prove him wrong. Let me go do my research. Right? That's what I try to inspire here. Critical thinking. Because we don't get that enough in school, right? Teachers don't do this. I think teachers should incorporate these debates. This would be fantastic. This should be a common thing that we debate and talk. And is there God? Is there no God? Evolution, flat Earth. This is fantastic to talk about. But school.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how can we
Yeah, I
help you?
give up. This only happens on your stream, bro. I can't hear you. All right, peace out.
It's God. He doesn't want you to talk to me.
Hey,
Hi.
what do you mean that we should go vegan? I'm vegan.
Well, I don't want to harm animals.
Why?
Because they're innocent. They did nothing wrong, just like people.
What if they're like predators? What if they want to kill us? Like, like
Okay,
foxes.
well then I'll hurt. Then I'll fight back. But they're not trying to kill us. There's no cows trying to kill us. There's no cow murderers.
So
let's not harm them back. There's no reason to. Let them be.
personally, I would. I'd cook them.
So why do you get to cook a cow but not cook a person?
Why do you want to cook a person? That's cannibalism.
Well, you tell me. Okay, so why is it wrong to cook a person but okay to cook a cow?
It's better. It has more meat and it helps your body than human.
People have meat.
So
You can eat meat and be
it's
healthy.
a person, a human being.
Okay, so why is it wrong to hurt a person but okay to hurt a cow?
Because it's normal. My family does it.
But does something being normal make it good?
It is good.
So you're saying it because it's normal, it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. 100 years ago or 200 years ago,
Yeah.
is slavery okay to you? Is slavery okay to you?
No. I mean, probably.
Okay, great. Then just because something is normal does not make it automatically good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so your job now is to point out a difference between humans and animals that justifies
Humans
your
kill
moral.
people. Like shooters, bang, bang, bang.
What?
Humans work, get money, family, and help. Well, animals just eat other animals, like kill and yeah,
All right. Have a good day, sir.
whatever.
That was an interesting one for sure. So there's pretty basic things about the human anatomy that proves that we are okay to eat these kinds of proteins. One, we have canines and we have flat teeth, so that in itself tells you you're an omnivore. You can eat both varieties.
Mm.
So that in itself just says
Yeah,
it. And our gut
but the problem
bacterias
is,
are, strong enough to be able to break these down. So if it wasn't meant to be eaten, wouldn't it not break down?
Well, the problem is that, yes, it is indeed the case that we have canines, but so do herbivores. Like gorillas, they eat mostly plants. They have bigger canines than we do. It's not the fact that we have canines does not necessitate our meat eating. We can still use our canines to eat fruits and vegetables and other plant-based foods. We do not need to eat meat. Also, when it comes to bacteria, there's no need to consume meat and digest it. Just because you can digest it doesn't mean you should digest it. I don't see a good reason health-wise to consume animals.
Well, given, yeah, you shouldn't eat them as like your main top priority food chain type of thing. You provide a lot. Also, I'm not discounting that at all because I myself, I love plants. I grow them all day long. This is my time of season to start growing things.
Okay,
I love
great.
it.
So what justifies harming innocent animals?
Well, then you put the figure of God into this in your title here. God is proven through geology and other things that are carbon dated that all have pretty accuracy
Really?
to it.
Really?
Yeah, the flood has been proven all over the world. If you go into the sedimentary layers, it all
Oh.
proves that there was an actual flood within the whole world, everywhere you go.
Wow. Okay, so there's a homogeneous layer in the geological strata which
There's
demonstrates a flood.
literally a documentary about this in HBO Max. Like,
Is it if there was a global flood, what, 6,000 years ago?
whenever the fuck it happened, yeah, it happened.
Okay. If there was a flood about 6,000 years ago, why is it that we don't see a homogeneous layer in the geological strata which demonstrates there would be a global flood? Also, why is it that there are salt structures in Nevada, for example, places that have never seen hints of rain or water for millions of years? Why is that the case? Why are there many salt plains and other places in the world where water has never been introduced? How would that be explained under a global flood scenario?
Well, how Pangea was and the geological things that actually happened, we don't really know how all the structures were at the
Pangea?
time,
Do you know when Pangea occurred?
millions of years ago. But all the same,
Okay,
the
so that's not
elevation
would not
has
be relevant.
changed all over the world. In different times, different things have happened,
Okay,
earthquakes,
so
different
what you're
stuff.
saying is there was a big ass boat that Noah had and had all the animals on it in the world, male and female.
Suppose it. Yeah. And actually some
What?
species there were 7 of.
Okay, what did he do? What did he do with all this shit? How did he feed all these animals? And how about all the insects?
Time to actually build that and to be able to store all that. All that went into play, I think, over hundreds of years that he had to do that. He lived a longer time than we did. It's strange to think like how things were, but oxygen levels were different back then. Everything was so different back then. So to put that all
Not
into
6,000
play,
years ago. Not 6,000 years
but
ago.
it's
Also,
evident. It's evident everywhere. You could see the sedimentary layers where it proves that the flood was in this place, that
okay,
place, and
great.
the other.
Which sedimentary layer demonstrates a global flood?
Look it up for yourself. You can watch the documentary. It'll explain it piece by piece.
What documentary?
It's HBO Max. Look it up. It's for real.
But documentaries are not evidence, right? Evidence is like peer-reviewed papers, experimental data.
What a
That's
documentary is?
a documentary could be biased. They could have flawed information or misinformation. They
Watch
could
it for
be
yourself,
lying.
and you can determine that discernment.
If I
But I'm
watch it,
telling you, if you put God
don't-
into the mix, yes, and in
Look,
the
look.
Bible, He tells you what animals are clean and which ones are unclean, and even science proves that they are unclean animals
What do you
because of
mean by
certain
what do you
things.
mean by unclean?
They carry certain things. They're detestable because they have
Every
like
animal carries
slime.
disease, ma'am. Every animal carries disease.
Yes,
even
they
you.
do. Different types to not be able to break certain things down were they not created
Ma'am,
to break that
ma'am,
down.
there is bacteria in your stomach right now that can kill somebody if it was exposed to them.
Right, it could kill
Did you know that?
yourself. Like literally, yeah. If you were punctured, you
No,
could kill
no,
yourself
there,
with your own
no.
internal crap. Yeah.
Yeah. So where is this unclean versus clean thing coming from when everybody's not clean?
Because certain animals do carry certain things that can kill you. So
So do
yes,
you.
and the Bible is just a basic guidebook, very basic, and everything that
I know
comes
it's a
from
guidebook,
this.
man, but it's not a science book. It's just a book of garbage, a book of stories. What I want is evidence of a global flood, and so far you have you made contradictory statements about the oxygen and the cleanup.
Geology,
Look,
basic
how,
stuff
how about
is
how about the
science that
how about the penguins?
proves
How
it.
did the penguins get to Antarctica from the boat in Turkey?
You
It's
know,
a 2,000
for
mile
hundreds
journey.
and hundreds of years, we've all traveled different places. Things
But
travel from one place to
but
the other.
penguins,
How did black people
penguins.
end up from Africa into this country? You know, they were taken from their original place
Man,
and placed somewhere else. That
do you know
happens
that
a lot.
ma'am, do you know that Antarctica is an island continent?
Yeah.
Do you know
Do
what
you
that
know
means?
Vikings fucking did
No,
their travels?
they never went to Antarctica. No, they never went to Antarctica. They went to Greenland, not Antarctica. Do you know where Antarctica
You
is on
know
the
that
map?
for a fact?
Yes. They could
Where
not have. You died. Do you know that there is strong polar winds in the Antarctic that are way too strong for any person to go through unless they have a helicopter or plane.
And you know the kind of
You
humans
can't go
that
on a
live
ship.
nearby.
You can't land on a ship. You'd freeze to death, okay? Also,
Suppose most did.
how did penguins swim? Did they waddle across Africa and then swim 1,000 miles
Madagascar has its own. Like, yes, every place has its own strange animals.
Madagascar was very close to Africa, and we know that it was attached to it fairly recently. But Antarctica is a different story. It has been separated from other continents for millions of years. And it would not make sense at all for penguins to be there if the flood happened 6,000 years ago. There's no fossil evidence of penguins anywhere in Antarctica, anywhere in Africa. How would that make sense?
Not sure.
Yeah, me neither. So what I would do is go learn, right? Go understand science. Go learn the research. Go learn actual geology, not from HBO.
Yeah.
Actual geology, right?
Well,
Like
geologists made the documentary. That's why. People that
Which one?
dedicate their life to things and want to prove
Oh,
something
okay.
will put all
Look.
their
That's
science
why
into it.
data is the supreme thing here, right? It supersedes any person's opinion. Data, experimental evidence, and observational data. Anybody's
I
authority.
really think you make this live every night just so you can prove this for yourself. And it's nice that you get all these inputs, but really eventually you're going to end up seeing that certain things are real. And eating plants, as lovely as
Anybody
that
can
is,
sit there, man. Anybody can sit here
chicken is
and pretend
amazing,
that they're
beef
right.
is amazing.
Ma'am. Anybody can sit there and pretend you're right. That's easy. But what's hard is to demonstrate you're right. That's what you're not doing.
Geology
So
proves
give
it.
me it. Don't just say geology proves it. Give me the actual sources and data.
Well, I'll watch it over and I'll come back on here
Don't.
tomorrow because I know you'll
No,
be on here tomorrow.
I don't want a Netflix show. I want actual data. I don't know if you know what data means.
Yeah, you get it from science, and then they
No.
fucking put their sources on there. Yeah, and then I'll just read them back to you.
Do you know what a scientific peer-reviewed paper is?
Yeah, articles and such, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I want like actual peer-reviewed articles, right? Like in academia journals, right? I want that. I don't want an HBO show, okay?
Yeah, a documentary that was made by geologists and scientists to prove this wrong, but they ended up proving it right.
You're
And
appealing
here
to
we are
authority.
sitting and
You are
seeing
appealing to
something.
authority. Ma'am, you're appealing to authority by simply saying, oh, it's a geologist that said it. That doesn't matter. What matters is what the methodology was. How did they get to that answer? Was it flawed? Was their
By
experiment
traveling
flawed?
to different parts of the world where you can see these layers. You can
And
go
what
to
did the layers
the
demonstrate about
You do
That's
that
what's
at
wrong.
the Grand Canyon. You can go to the mountains. You can go
The
to
Grand Canyon
Alaska,
is
wherever,
evidence against the
and
flood, man. The
get
Grand
samples out of
Canyon,
the. Yeah, you could do a lot of different things to
the
prove these
Grand
things right.
Canyon is evidence against the flood because the Grand Canyon we know has taken thousands of years of a water and wind erosion to occur. It did not take 40 days to make the
You
fucking
can
Grand
tell
Canyon.
by the elevation and by the sedimentary layers where
Yes,
things were and where they.
we have dated
Yes.
the layers in the Grand Canyon, and guess what? They are separated by thousands of years. Why? Because we know there are different certain ingredients in the geological strata.
And you can
There's
tell
different
when
types of
certain events
rocks
happen just
which could
by
not have
those certain
accumulated.
things.
Ma'am, the Grand Canyon shows us that there was no fucking flood because that are so different and distinct from each other that they could not have occurred in one setting, in one sitting. It had to have occurred over thousands of years because of the specific erosional processes. That is not possible under a 40-day, 40-night rain scenario. And I'm sorry, but you have not given a single peer-reviewed paper, a single source that is reliable or accurate. Go back to the drawing board, learn, study science. That's all I can do to help you because you don't even know what science is. Go research, go understand the methodologies of science, go learn what experiments are, what observations are, what conclusions are, what abstracts are. Go learn how we discover results. Okay? I don't know if I can take this anymore, guys. I really don't know. I'm gonna try one more guest.
Oh, yo, what's up, bro? All right, basically, bro, I just had, just 3 questions about like each topic up there. All right, so the first one, like, how else are we gonna be here, bro? Like, how else is the universe created? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying, bro?
What makes you think that the only scenario is God done did it? Why can't there
No,
be a
no, look,
natural, complex reason that you just don't understand yet?
bro, Mike,
That
chill. I never said God created. I just, I'm just curious on like,
okay, great. I love that you're curious. Fantastic. Instead of coming up on live, go learn. Don't talk to me. I'm not going to help you, right? I can't help you. Go learn what can
literally
help you.
can't
There's
help
the
me, buddy.
abundance of information out there in the world. Go learn. That's why I'm here, to
Why do you
point
think
you
I
in
come
the
up here,
direction of
bro? I'm looking
knowledge.
for answers.
What?
So why else do you think I came up here, bro?
I don't have all the answers. The world does. Reality has the answers. Go look
Well, you're
out
clearly the
there.
expert here, so you should know.
I'm not an expert. I'm just a person who understands the
All right,
scientific method and cares about truth. I don't know all the truth, but I can point you in the direction as to where reliable truths may be.
can you
And
do
that's
that?
where in science, it's a method.
All right, for the second one about the vegan one, I tried going vegan, but like after I think about the 3rd month mark, bro, I was weak as fuck. My body could not handle anything,
Okay.
dog.
What were you eating? That this is
No, I was eating.
you can eat Oreos and not have energy. Okay.
Yeah, I was eating like vegan based products, like vegan burgers, more salad and just
Yeah, a
vegetables.
lot of those processed foods are bad for you. That's why
No,
energy might
it's
be low.
no. I ate fucking like from restaurants and shit. Like, I didn't eat actual meat.
Yeah, if you want energy, what you should be doing is learning about nutrition, getting the proper fresh whole foods in your diet, fruits, vegetables. Eating processed junk food is not going to make you healthy. You can be a vegan and be unhealthy. It's not a diet. It's not a health protocol. It's an ethical stance. You can be healthy as a vegan just as you can be unhealthy as a vegan. Same with meat.
What you mean?
What do you mean what you mean?
You just said
Go learn
you just
nutrition.
said
Go learn.
you just said if You just said being vegan doesn't mean you're healthy. So why would I be vegan? If it's
For
not
the
healthy, why would I be
ethics.
vegan?
It's for the ethics. You care about the animals.
Why should I care about animals? They got like, bro.
Do you care about people?
Yeah, but that's people, not animals, bro. Animals,
What's the difference? What's the difference? Why do you care about people but not animals?
cause we're more smarter than them. We're more like.
Okay, if there is a person who's mentally challenged, they don't know how to do math, do you get to eat that person because they're not as smart as you?
No, because that's cannibalism.
I know, but why is it wrong? Why is it wrong to kill a person who's not as smart as you, but it's perfectly okay to kill a cow who's not as smart as you?
Because cows are meant to be eaten.
Why? Why
else
do you
are
think
they
they're
here?
meant to be?
They have
What
no
makes you think
purpose
they're
in
meant
them.
to be eaten?
Huh?
Why are they meant to be eaten?
Because they have no other purpose.
Who said? You're saying that they have no purpose. What if they want to be on their own and live freely like you do? Why
But
can't that be their purpose?
they even know what they're doing, bro. Like, they
Neither
really
do
just,
you. First of all, neither do
they
you.
like the
You don't know.
NPCs, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? They like
They what?
NPCs.
Empty seeds?
They're NPCs, bro. Like, they're not even
How
aware of
ironic.
their existence. Like,
They are aware of their existence.
no,
They
they're
are
not.
very compassionate, sentient, intelligent beings who can love, who can think, who can dream, who can form compassion and relationships with others. They have family just as we do. Cows are not just these dumb creatures. They're very, very
They don't
complex.
even know how to
emotional.
communicate with each other. What are you talking about?
Sure, they can in different ways. Behaviorally,
You ever seen a cow communicate with its fucking kid?
yes, cows cry after their children are
Are you
taken, their babies are taken away from them.
you being dead ass,
Cows
bro?
are very, very emotional beings.
A cow crying.
Yes, cows get depressed, they get anxiety, they get
All right, how about
nervous.
this, Mike? What I seen around. There's a new way where they could, kill cows without them, feeling any pain. Is that still a problem? Like you just
Yeah,
how is that a
because you're still
problem? They're
killing
not
them.
feeling any pain. Like it's just
Okay,
instant.
well, if I went up to somebody and shot them in the head, they felt no
Yeah, but
pain. Would that be okay to you?
yeah, but that person actually had value in life. Like they're actually
So does an animal. So does an
No,
animal.
no. What? Name one important, some important about cows. Like name one thing they do for this world. They do nothing.
Give me one thing that you've done for this
They
world.
had family.
That's so important.
They had family, had friends. They had, people
So
that
do
cared about
animals.
them.
So do cows.
Yeah, but fucking cows are gonna forget about that like after a day, bro. Like
No, they don't. They remember each other for years. Cows are not dumb. They
I don't know.
understand family for years.
No,
They're
bro.
just like us in almost every fucking way.
Not really, bro. Like cows don't even wash their ass, bro.
I don't think you do either necessarily. I
I
wouldn't be
definitely
surprised
do,
if you
man. You don't
didn't.
wash that musty ass
But
beard, man.
okay, let's just say a baby doesn't wipe their butt. Should we eat babies because they don't know how to wipe their butt?
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you want to.
You think we can eat babies?
All right, next topic. What about the about the,
Look, this is where your logic leads to, right? The point is, there's no difference between us, and because of your logic, it leads to get to kill babies. This is the point. There's no difference to me. My logic is way more consistent across the board. I don't harm you because you're sentient. You have a living experience that I care about, just as we have. So
all right. Actually,
that's
I got another question about the vegan one. Since you care so much about animals, like I know you accidentally stepped on a bug before. Have you felt bad about that bug?
Of course, but look, I'm not here to say that I'm perfect, that I can stop all death. That's not what veganism means. It means to do what you can with what you have, to do the best you can.
Yeah, but look, it's not like I'm the one killing it. Like I just go to the grocery store, buy, steak, how am I affecting, like, how am I like affecting the death of the cow? Like,
Oh yeah. I don't know. Maybe you're paying for it. You're paying for it. You're
yeah,
paying
but
for
even
those
look,
cows to be slaughtered.
even if I stop paying for it, they're still gonna be killing. Like, they're gonna be killing them more actually.
No,
Look,
they're actually
the less I
the
buy,
lower.
the more
Do
they
you know
kill.
what supply, sir? Do you know what supply and demand means?
No.
I can tell.
Yeah.
The more you demand a product, the more supply has to meet that demand, right? So when you stop demanding meat products, there's less supply of animals.
Yeah,
That's
but that
called
doesn't
supply
stop.
and
That doesn't stop
demand.
every single death of the cow.
Of course, it doesn't stop every death, but it minimizes it. It reduces it.
Yeah,
That's
by
the
like
point.
what, 0.1%?
Okay, how about this? There's a murderer who stops murdering people.
And here, look, I already know what you're
There's
gonna
only
go.
one.
I already
There's
know where
only
you're gonna
one
go with this.
murder. There's only one less murder. Does that mean we should all murder each other because we're only going to stop one less person from dying? No, that's ridiculous.
I mean, actually, no. Like, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter either way, bro. Because people get born every. Nobody cares.
So murder is okay because people are going to die anyway, right? So might as well
Just
just
one
murder.
person. It's not like
Yeah, it's just one person.
100,000
Might as well
people.
just murder, right? This is your logic.
All right, man. All right, for the third one, evolution. How is that? Like, come on, evolution? Really? You really think we came from fucking gorillas or apes? Was it or
Do you
orangutans?
even know what evolution? Sir, do you even know what evolution means?
Yeah, like, humans changing from like throughout millions and millions of years, changing from apes from apes to humans. Ain't that what it is?
No. This is in Pokemon. Where you go half human, half turtle, and you have a human stone. You go, I'm morphing into a human. No. We are apes. We're just one type of ape, and there is a long chain of other species that were similar to us, but ever increasingly less similar to us the
Oh,
more
like
distant you go in
Pikachu?
the past. There is a slow change in the genetic records and the fossil records, and that's what evolution means. Small changes over time leads to big changes. That's evolution, and that is something we see and observe all the time in labs, in the geological strata, and in our DNA. That's evolution. It's a fact. We know it's a fact.
So we came from apes to humans in the span of how long? Millions of years?
We are apes today. We're still apes.
We are not apes. There's still apes out there. So how come they didn't, how come they don't look like me?
Okay. Think of evolution like a tree, right? Every
tree.
branch on the tree is a different branch, right? Different path that a tree went, right? The same with evolution. Every branch of the tree of life is a different species. And we humans are one branch, and the other apes are other branches of the tree. We just went one way. We just took one pathway. And we became human. The other apes changed in their own ways and are still other types of apes that are unique from us. We are cousins to all the other apes. That's why we are apes. We have ape fur. We have ape.
We don't know.
Physiology,
That's really not true at all. Actually,
it is taxonomically true.
you said we have the same hair.
Yeah, we have ape fur. This hair is same thing.
No, it's
Fur, hair,
not the same texture at all.
It is the same thing. All apes have hair.
Yeah, but it's not the same as ours. It's totally different.
It's similar structure, sir. The point is we have similar structured physiology. Same eyes, same mouth,
Sir.
same nose, same lungs,
Sir.
same
Sir.
penises, same buttholes. Yeah, what do you got? Look it up.
Sir.
We are taxonomically great apes.
Sir, that is not true, sir.
Okay, great. So prove that we're not apes. What are we? If we're not apes, what are we?
Okay, so we could both agree that a basketball is round, right? but a basketball court is flat.
Okay.
This proves Earth is flat. So, just trying to get in a different topic here.
All right, guys. I reached my threshold. I'm done. Oh man, that was just. This is like potentially the worst live I've ever had. I just can't. I'm sorry, guys. I had to take like a week off to recuperate from this. Oh man. Yeah, L Mike. Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm the bad guy. Yeah, I'm wrong. Yeah, I know. Hey, kissing Katie. Wow, that's interesting profile picture. Yeah. Anyway, I'm tired, guys. Thanks for being here. I'll stay for some questions. Ask away. Let's hear your questions. Free will? Yeah, I don't even believe in free will. I don't think it's possible. Okay. Why are people so ignorant? Yeah, it has to do with the school system. In America, at least, we teach kids not how to think, but what to think. We don't show them the pathways to truth. We just tell them what is true, and we expect them to memorize it for a test. But we're not. School is test focused, not student focused. There's no connection between students and teachers anymore. It's just, here's a test, go take it, and if you get a good grade, you succeed. That's not learning. Learning isn't just how good you can memorize things, but how well you can think critically, logically, rationally, how you can use the tools of science to come up to your own truth, to produce your own truths based on the data around you, how you can come up to certain conclusions. That's what science is. It's never-ending truth-producing machine. Unfortunately, we don't teach that to kids. We teach them that science is boring, that it's just about memorizing, that's not science. Science is a way of thinking. Also, we're distracted. We have phones, we have TikToks. Nobody wants to learn anymore because they're distracted by their phones, their TikToks. Information is so accessible that we're bathing in it, we're basking in it so much that we have lost sight of what it means to get to information, right? What information is good and what information is bad, how do we falsify information, how do we navigate this ocean of information? That's what's lacking in schools. But instead, we just bombard students with even more information. That's not the right way. Also, students are not captivated by going to school. They don't see utility in school. They don't think it's useful. Why would you want to do something that's not useful for you, right? Why even learn if I can just go online and learn it? There's no incentive to go to school, and this makes it worse for students. On top of that, many young kids don't have parents that teach them manners. So now teachers are given the baggage of teaching students how to behave. School is becoming a modern daycare center. On top of that, teachers they don't know They can't teach their own lessons. They're heavily guided by their administration. There's low innovation. There's no spirit. There's no personality to school. It's just a place where you go, like a prison. That's not how education should be done. Education should be enthralling, captivating, amazing, fantastic, eye-opening thing. But instead, it's this prison cell. Preventing our curiosity, the confinements of prison. It's sad. But hopefully, I want to make people do their own research and do their own learning on their own times. I'm trying to show you that the world is exciting. Look at these big ideas. How do we come from? How do we get here? These are questions we can't answer. And everybody's curious about these questions, right? How do we get here? What is this made of? What is a universe? These are great questions to ask, but people don't know how to get to the answers. And they don't recognize the interconnection between all subjects of science, in math, in English, and all ways of learning are related to science in a way. But people have lost sight of that. Will AI interfere with evolution? Of course it will. AI is going to be used for biotechnology. We'll be implementing all kinds of AI into our own bodies, merging in a way with AI, with robotics that run on AI, that don't run on our brains. Right? We'll be merging two different brains together, right? AI and human intelligence merging together in a way, potentially perhaps to a point where we become no longer relevant, But yes, the trajectory is slowly but surely more mergence between us. And we will be no longer here as a species, but there will be somebody after us. Hopefully more aware and cautious than even we. People are so lost into thinking that we are the end of evolution, that we're the end products of the world. No, we're not even the halfway through. There's a whole world. There's a whole timeline ahead of us, right? We love to think we're so special, but we're not. And that might make you sad, like that we're not the end. We're not the end products. Well, we're still valuable because we are part of this amazing process. We're the first humans, the first species to merge with this new technology, the first species to go to the moon, the first species to travel in space. We will be considered, in retrospect, by our descendants as Christopher Columbus and the first Spaniards who traveled the world and navigated the world. We'll be seen as the first discoverers, the first explorers of the universe.